All right. Breeders' Cup Day Friday.
And now,
Here we are.
honor America with the singing of
Let's
our
just start
national
with it.
anthem, please welcome a future star in her own right. 12-year-old award-winning singer and actress
One of the better
San Diego,
sporting
Eva
national
Sawyer.
anthems, in my opinion, around the world. So let's see.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad streets and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran glad, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? And the home of the brave.
All right.
That concludes the opening ceremonies for the
5
2024
races.
Breeders' Cup World Championships. Get ready for an
First thing I
excellent
noticed
day of
as soon as the
championship
odds board
racing
come
and
up on
good
this was Big Mojo at 13, 14 to 1. I really thought be closer to 5s. So we'll see what happens and how it goes from here.
The $1 million Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf
I didn't think
Sprint
it's a
was
wide
first
open
contested
race,
at Del Mar in 2021,
but
Twilight
and I had planned to go in the
team,
Japanese
trainer Wesley
double.
Ward and jockey Irad Ortiz Jr. a
Yukoro
third
Siege
consecutive
into
win.
American
Then
Bikini.
Cash for Cash.
Just,
The next year, Mischief Magic rolled.
but right now, I need no Koro Siege and at 8 to 5. And I touch that. I'm going to try and get a beat here and here. So let's run through and see where we're at. Magnum Force, pretty big odds at the 20s. Let's see, I think. Wait, there's a lot of papers everywhere. There's a lot of papers, a lot of notes, a lot of stuff going on. Multiple tables, multiple pens. Yeah, let's see what happens.
Give us perspective on the
But
global interest
very
coming
horse,
into
the
these races.
very
This will be
short,
our
the
first
Japanese horse.
opportunity to see America versus the rest of the world. We are hosting it, so I refer
So let me
to it
see.
that
The other
way.
one was the
And it
Aiden
might be
O'Brien
America up against
double,
it here,
which
Keith.
is
How do you see the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf
jacket
Sprint from an
5,
international
7, and
Well, I
12.
think the international participants certainly have the upper hand
odds.
as far as past form is
Good
concerned
odds.
and proven form at that. The bettors would be saying that the Japanese hold the strongest hand of all, though they are a little untested at the level that the European counterparts are.
Yeah, I think that's a fair summary. I think the European horses in this race have stronger, more established form in established races that we've seen historically provide stars, not just as 2-year-olds, but horses that go on to succeed later on in their careers. But it's quite unusual to have a Japanese 2-year-old in the mix. Normally, it's just America versus Europe, Aiden O'Brien, Charlie Appleby against the Americans. But it's nice, I think, to have the Japanese influence now. It's just spreading the love a little bit wider.
And so right now, the betting public thinks that this race does go through the Japanese-based runner, Akira Sieg, currently up on the board at 8 to 5. All indications are this horse is lightning quick.
Perhaps also past history is playing a role because the Japanese horses that came in various divisions kind of took everyone by surprise the last time the Breeders' Cup was
Yes.
at Del Mar. They're not going to be surprised this time.
No way. This horse has won both his starts, looked very impressive, clocked some really good times. But obviously those 2 wins have been over 6 furlongs. Different test here. And the horse will have to come out of his comfort zone today because there's so much speed in the race. You'll have to be able to lay up and also finish the race off, although dropping back in trim.
And for him, as well as some of the international horses in this field and throughout the day.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll tell you
wondering
another one,
about
number
maybe
12,
some
Ides of March,
concern
seems
about
good
the
odds at
start.
that as well,
If there
so.
might be something lost a little
me
bit
see
with the
what we need.
differences in this type of a field and in North American racing, that's a little bit of a concern for me, particularly with a lightly raced horse like he is.
And Caden, you have no problem with the 5 furlong configuration on the turf here at Del Mar, looking for horses who may not have pace, that may be coming from far back.
Well, I think the horses that I used are maybe not on the lead, but able to be close up early. At least it seems as if Asterius toward the inside does have some natural turn of foot. In his previous races, he's been very forward in both of them. So I'm not as concerned about him. But I did use a U.S. horse just in case this race does go through
So we saw,
the leader. And I thought the most likely leader could well be the 10 Governor Sam.
let me get this down a bit. So if you watch the earlier races, the horse that won a couple of races ago, Chasing Liberty, ran 4th, the juvenile turf sprint runner, Governor Sam. So I imagine that's why Governor Sam's showing up very short here as well. Going off that earlier race, thinking that there's a form line through there. So it's a mile on turf, wide post terrible, not so much. Result so far, 13, 10, 3, 14 round.
Japanese runner, Kurosie, 2-year-old offspring of Twirling Candy, won at 19% in turf sprints over the last 3
The other one was Tequila and Therapy. It was 4th in the juvenile fillies turf runner thought process in the Surfer Girl Stakes last time out as well. So won the Golden State Juvenile fillies. So we're starting to see some of these odds showing up with the form lines from earlier winners at this place.
Alex Bregman back again to the Breeders' Cup this year with Governor Sam. What'd you learn last year with the experience with no-name events coming to the Breeders' Cup World Championships?
Oh, just so much of an honor it is to be here. Obviously, there's great horses all over the world, and to be in a field of 12 here in the Breeders' Cup, it's a dream come true for our whole family. We're very thankful to be here.
What are your thoughts on Governor Sam taking on this international cast with the run that he's on right now?
No, obviously, there's a lot of great runners here, but we love our chances. Obviously, it's been really awesome to watch all year long, and we're very hopeful today.
He's the fastest horse in this race early?
I think so, but we'll see. I've been hearing everyone saying that he's not, so we'll see. We'll see who's out in the front end. We'll see. I don't know.
Great to have you back at the Breeders' Cup. We love having you in the sport. We love your passion, your family's passion, and good luck with Governor Sam, Alex.
Thanks so much. Appreciate y'all.
Hey, it is quite a run that Governor Sam is on. 4 wins in a row, but unlike a lot of the international entrants, we don't have Group 1s and Group 2s for turf sprints for 2-year-olds.
This is the best that we have, though, in Stakes Company, and he's traveled from Saratoga to Monmouth to Colonial to Keeneland, and maintained his form from the time he broke his maiden through all those courses as the stakes got higher. Now, can he do that again? I don't know. It remains to be seen. But I do know he's very fast, and he also took on all comers, several different horses made runs at him last time around in the Indian Summer at 5.5 furlongs in a race that was very, very fast, and he still had something left.
We're going to ask Rishi about a common race that many of the international entrants come out of, but right now, Scott Hazelton.
Pleased to be joined by Carl Burke, who's got shareholder the number 9 for Whackman Racing. He was brilliant in Royal Ascot, but his performance last time out, did that shake your confidence at all if it's not this time, Cole?
Not really. He's a very good horse. He proved that early on in the season. He didn't have a great prep going into the Mornay. The ground was a bit loose. I mean, it just didn't happen for him. So ignore that run. I mean, and if we hadn't gone there, we'd probably be 2nd or 3rd favourite. And I think he's a big price.
the question for the international invaders here to the States is always the bend, handling the turn. What have you done to prepare him for that? What are your expectations in him handling it?
Yeah, it is. If it was a straight track, I'd be a lot happier. But he had a prep run gallop round Southall. He jumped very quick that day. He went round the bend lovely. Obviously, it's even tighter again today. So yeah, it is a concern. I'd be lying, but I think I'd be more concerned about the jump. I think he needs to jump quick. He's been a little bit tardy in his first 2 runs anyway, but he was very green. As long as he jumps and he's on the tails of the leaders going into the bends, I'll be very happy. He'll come up strong.
Good luck.
Thank you. Cheers.
Rishi, let's stay on that point because Shareholder won the first 2 starts of his career despite his bad habit at the starting gate.
He's got enormous natural talent, lots of speed, and that proved to be the case at Royal Ascot. One of the horses behind him that day was Whistle Jacket, so his form was strong. And as Carl Burke says, if he hadn't run last time out, he would be near the top of the market on raw ability. Last time out in France, he was very keen coming out the gates, in addition to conditions not suiting me as well. So his race was run after a furlong and a half. He didn't put a line through that. That wasn't him whatsoever. Interestingly enough, I managed to speak to Carl Burke. I remember back in August, and I asked him if he'd have any runners at the Breeders' Cup. This is the only horse that he mentioned. He said, I think this horse might be a Breeders' Cup horse since then.
Incredible, especially when you consider the price right now of 18 to 1. Jess Stafford.
Christoph, tell me about this horse. He looks so fast. What's he like to ride? As fast as it looks?
Yes, definitely. Maybe not the quickest one, the first step out of the gates, but he's got a very good cruising speed, and he won twice brilliantly at home. So let's see what he can do today.
What about this draw in 8? Does it concern you? Will he be okay out the stalls?
No, it will be fine. We'll be fine. No, it's a good draw.
Okay, all the best.
Back in America.
Christophe Lambert currently aboard our favorite at 8 to 5, and currently the Pick 5 pool is about to go past $2 million, and we haven't even gotten to the post parade yet. We haven't gotten a call for riders up. Let's talk about the Pick 5 for just a moment. Here's a ticket I put together on a 50-cent increment. I'm going to use some coverage to get out of this race, and I'm going to use some coverage in race 7 because I'm going to go single, and the third part and in the 9th race, race number 8, is Queen Victoria, or Lake Victoria, in the John Deere Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. 8 to 5 morning line favorite. And then Jonathan's Way. I've always liked him since I saw his debut at Saratoga. He backed it up with a win in the Iroquois. I'll single him in the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And then to end the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, the 2 Dream On, the 4 Alcudra, the 5 Zulu Kingdom, and the 11 New Century. If you want to play according to how I put it together on a nominal budget, it's a $50 play into the Pick 5 with a Pick 5 pool that has now gone past $2 million. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint, the daily racing form is America's Turf Authority. What do you see, Kate?
Well, some facts about Gate to Wire. Over the past 1,000 plus days, trainer Todd Pletcher is 11 for 41, or 27%, with a positive $2.68 return on investment with 2-year-old non-maiden third-time starter. So a very specific category, but certainly a big enough sample size to know that Gate to Wire stands to improve and perhaps run his best yet.
Risha, I wanted to ask you about a common race that so many of our international horses come out of in this race. It took place at Doncaster, a Group 2, and the betting, a slight favorite was Magnum Force, who now sits up on the board at 22 to 1. But all the horses were bet. It looked like a wide open race. What did you take away from that race? Who was the best horse? Who do you think will emerge out of that race at Doncaster to come here and run big?
I'm loving the 22 to 1 on Magnum Force. Asterius won that day, beat Big Mojo, and Magnum Force was back in third. Now, the thing about Magnum Force from that race is that he saw plenty of daylight. Magnum Force is at his best when he can be covered up and he can be in traffic, so he might need a little bit of luck here, but if he can draft in behind horses, then he could potentially reverse the form with Asterius and Big Mojo. Asterius and Big Mojo are 2 really solid, fast 2-year-olds, 2 horses that we've seen establish themselves in Britain as the higher class speedsters. But Big Magnum Force went into that race off the back of an excellent run at York, where he was just a little bit behind the pace and ran on strongly. The form of that race at York is strong. Then he went to Doncaster, just saw a bit too much daylight and just ran out of
Alright,
steam.
so we're back.
in the last
So,
half furlong. A little bit more patience.
For those
a
that
little
you
bit
can
more
access
cover, but I
Betfair,
think his current odds could look quite
there's some
generous.
big bloody prices on there. There's misalignment all across the globe on this racing
British Raiders,
right now. So
Japanese Raiders, and in the FanDuel TV studios,
It's,
an Aussie Raider.
all over the place, like the 8 to 5 on the track, 11 to 4 Betfair, other places all the way in between. 13.35, 100 to 1 on Betfair, worth some each way, I think. Number 12, number 12, 17 to 1 on Betfair. 13 at the track, should be single digits.
We're now seeing the 3 big mojo
So-
drifting out to 13 to 1. So nice little price coming up here for the next one. And with that, let's get back out there on course. The Breeders' Cup World
It's all over the
Championships. How
place.
good is this?
How good is it?
Sender
Fantastic.
from FanDuel TV. Thank you, Dubs. And as the field
Second
comes
best
out
weekend of
onto
the year.
track for our post-parade,
100%.
the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, a reminder of the wagering menu on this race, wherever you might be playing. A Future Stars Friday, win, play, show, exacta, trifecta, superfecta wagering, and then super high five wagering. Horizontally speaking, daily double, pick 3, and do not forget about that pick 5 in the all turf pick 3. An all turf pick 3, which has a $3 minimum, and that all turf pick 3 will be races 6, 8, and 10 on today's card. Huge crowd on hand. Let's meet our field. The post parade for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. After the scratch of the 1 out on bail, here's the 2, Asterius.
Asterius has only suffered 2 losses, but comes off a victory in Group 2 competition at the 5 furlong distance. Should be forwardly placed.
Yeah, Big Mojo will be hoping to overturn the form of the Flying Childers behind Asterius last time out. Obviously, he represents the connections that were successful in this race 12 months ago with Big Evs. He's bound to be a player. Hopefully, he'll hold a good pitch from the gate.
And Magnum Force, perhaps the value play at 21 to 1, coming off a 3rd place finish in the Flying Childers Stakes, but late, deep closer will need a little bit of luck.
Here's Arizona Blaze for Ireland and trainer Adrian Murray. He's a horse who started off the season quite well. He won a Group 3 in Ireland
Mojo.
back in May. He's found
Well,
perhaps his
I'd
level
have ma- I'd
exposed
have
since
marched.
then, and he'll be one of the more unlikely shots for the Europeans.
And 50 to 1 on the 6th, Jet Sweep Joe, who disappointed in the Indian summer, but didn't have a very clean trip, had the worst of it. If all things are considered, he was second, beaten just ahead at Saratoga in Stakes Company, and before that second.
Whistle
in the
jacket
Tyro
over
as
5 to
well.
1. It's
Whistle
fair.
Jacket
I mean,
is a
that's what
Group
I
1
am.
winner. He won the morning when Shareholder
That's what I think it
disappointed.
should be.
Prior to that, he was behind Shareholder at Royal Ascot, dropping back in trip might suit him.
Our favorite with Christophe Lemaire is a stakes winner and undefeated in 2 starts as a very heavy favorite, both races at 6 furlongs.
9, the Shareholder, who was the second of the Wafnan runners. James Doyle chose to ride Asterius and Shareholder with William Buick in the saddle.
And Governor Sam, the 10 horse, is 4 for 5 lifetime and rides that 4-race win streak, most recently successful at Keeneland in the Indian summer.
Gate to Wire would be the next horse on the list for Todd Fletcher and Irad Ortiz with the blinkers on. He was behind Menti. Menti obviously runs in the juvenile turf later.
Frankie Dettori on the 12 Ides of March, coming off the layoff, has not raced since August at the Curragh, but the colt was successful in his last 2 starts, including that Group 3 last time out.
13 is Pally Kitten, who was able to see off Smash It, but this is a whole different level.
And we didn't see Gate to Wire moments ago. Here's a look at Gate to Wire, as we were talking about, currently up on the board at 17 to 1. That is your live post parade here for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. There's no better interviewer in the world than Rishi Prasad, in my opinion. That's not just because he's here with me, but that's why he gets to be at center court at Wimbledon. But you got to be center court on the backside with Aidan O'Brien earlier this week. And one, got to give him a lot of credit. He took every question you want to bring at him, and he told us something a little bit here about Ides of March.
Yeah, Because interestingly enough, Isaac March has won his last 2 races over 6 furlongs, and he didn't look the archetypical type of horse that I thought Aidan O'Brien would bring for this race. Obviously, Whistle Jacket is clearly the type of horse that Aidan O'Brien would run in a Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint, but he thinks that this horse is going to be a star sprinter next year, and he feels that this experience is going to bring him forward. I love that in trainers, when they don't mind a horse getting beat for the future when they get better.
He's getting a little aggressive in his warm-up, giving Frankie a bit of a pull there. And I view that as a very positive sign.
Well, he's going to need to be quicker than he has been in his last couple of runs.
Well, let's go to that last race at the Curragh. This was the Round Tower. Now, he was an overwhelming favorite in this race as well.
Yeah, this was a front-running win, but in terms of the quality of this race in comparison to some of the other horses that are lining up representing Europe, representing Britain and Ireland today, it was a straightforward win. Look at the way he dominated the race. He didn't really have to come out of his comfort zone, and that was over 6 furlongs. He's dropping back in trip today. He's going to have to go harder and faster against better horses.
Okay, you had that great interview with Aidan O'Brien earlier in the week, but there was one question you missed. I would love to know how they decided the 7 Whistle Jacket would race in Peter Brand silks. How did that conversation happen? Especially given the star power of this ownership group.
Well,
all I can say is this Japanese horse,
politics that goes on there behind the scenes.
if it wins, watch all the Japanese horses be short. Just short. And I'll be against them all if that's the case.
My top pick by
But
virtue
this one will run into
victory there, as well as victory in the July Stakes.
Alright,
which
we've
was
got 5 to
pretty
6
prestigious
minutes
group
to
as well,
go.
but mostly, what he seems to me is to be versatile and able to adapt to
Covenant
whatever
Sam.
the pace and the situation
get it.
warrants.
This race, you see behind him in the red cap is
Covenant
Shareholder,
Sam,
who never
10,
ran his race. But Whistle Jacket got to the rail, and Ryan Moore was quite aggressive on this occasion. What happened last time out was a little bit of a worry in the Middle Park Stakes at Newmarket, where Aidan O'Brien felt that perhaps he didn't go hard enough early enough in that race, and that left him a bit vulnerable, that he couldn't really show his gritty ability. But in this race, the pre-morning that we've just seen, he was much more on his game, and maybe if he can be ridden in a similar sort of manner, we'll see the real Whistle Jacket today.
Currently up on the board as our second choice at 4-1. Our favorite continues to be the Japanese-based Nakoro CA. The 2 Asteris, I don't think we've talked enough about this horse. We take you beyond the past performances, and this is from jockey James Doyle on his choices in this race.
Yeah, Shareholder was the other horse that he could have chosen to ride. It's really interesting because I do think that if Shareholder hadn't run last time out, that Shareholder would be much shorter, and James Doyle's decision would indeed, as he said, have been much harder. But the good thing about this horse is that he is reliable. You know that. And I think that's the reason why James Doyle has opted for Asterius. You're almost guaranteed a horse that will come out the gates, show plenty of pace, and has got good form in the book.
We are just 3 minutes away from the first of 14 championship races over these 2 days here at Del Mar. The Breeders' Cup.
So go through them. Mysterious Fair Price. Big Mojo seems big. Magnum Force. Yeah.
They're stepping on to the
Arizona
Jimmy
Blaze,
Durante
Jet
Turf
Sweet
course
Joe
here, listed as
is
for
what it
the
is.
Big Five
Whistle
pool.
Jacket.
It's now headed
That's fair. I
towards
think it's,
$3
you know.
million. Get your plays in. They'll be at the starting gate here in just a little bit. When we look at this turf course,
Korosi,
breakfast
just
at the Breeders'
like
Cup all week. We had some
madness
very
on
cool
track. 8 to
temperatures.
5,
It was a
8
turf
to
course where
5,
they
and
went
as I
out and
said,
just to
currently
go on throughout their
11
training
to
regimen.
4 on
Maybe had
Betfair.
more given it. It's had a chance to become a little
Japanese
more
obviously
firm than what we
brought some
saw in the
bags of
morning.
cash.
Who do you think of the
Shareholder at
international
16
horses
seems
here
like a good
will appreciate
price.
this type of ground?
Well,
Governor
when
Sam
you
is
think
an
back
underlay.
to Royal Ascot in the summer, you think Shareholder,
Gate to
because obviously he
wire.
blitzed the field when he won at
6
Ascot in
number
June.
11.
Whistle Jacket, I think, would appreciate the quicker
Yeah, good
surface. I
luck.
think last time at Newmarket, in addition to perhaps not being going as aggressive
March
as
12th.
Connection wanted, maybe the
That's
ground
just
was
too big.
slightly against him. The horse that I liked as well, Magnum Force, you look at some of his form, I think the faster the ground, the better for him. His sire, Maymas, who actually has got a fair few horses to win on soft ground in the last few months. Generally, if you look through his statistics, he's much stronger with horses on quicker ground. So I'm keen on Magnum Force, and I think Shareholder is a horse that you definitely rule out his last run and keep him in mind for today.
The 4 Magnum Force sitting up on the board at 21 to 1, and you don't expect him.
I tell
to
ya,
quick out
today,
the gate as
tomorrow.
Rishi say wants to
Whatever you're
become
gonna
an
get, you're gonna get
finish.
great
The
prices.
key will be the 9 shareholder.
8,
If you
7,
like that,
10,
you want to
4,
see a
back
good
and
break there. He
forth.
might have too much to overcome if he broke like he did in the first 2 starts of his career. Here's how
I think
our
this 13.
whole season in this race. A number of directions
I think
to
this
go.
13 is
And,
worth,
Scott Hazelton going with Governor Sam to win his 5th consecutive race and get America off to a good start. Kate, the 7 Whistle Jacket, you find with that price of 4 to 1?
It was a little lower than I would like, but I will certainly take it if he's successful.
And wearing the jacket of Peter Brandt. It is Whistle Jacket stepping onto the turf here. They're going to make a short walk to the starting gate and look at the money come in. This is quite a churn. We just had a churn of about $500,000 in this Pick 5 pool, and now the money is coming in $250,000 increments. Stunning, the amount of money coming into the Pick 5 pool. It begins here in race 6. We are about to go past $4 million in this Pick 5 pool. So I mentioned
The 3 and 12 are overpriced. The 9 is good value.
Yes, America versus the world.
Really
By the time
looking
we get
at
to the end of these 14 races, how many horses will have
Whistle
won a
Jacket. I think
Breeders'
it's
Cup
priced
race,
well under,
not based
slightly
here in
under the
America? What is
price.
score going to look like in your opinion, Rishi Prasad?
That's a great
No
question.
number 8.
There are a couple of
That's what we're
races
starting the day with.
where
No
the
number
traditionally
8.
strong European challenge
Let's see what
is
I mean.
weaker this year. I think
Yesterday I was
It's
tipping the
also
8.
better
I was
in
tipping the
some Europe
Japanese
races
double
where
as a first,
normally
and this
you'd
is
be
where
up against it.
pricing.
yes, but I say that with reservation.
This is where pricing comes into it. This is where
Detroit to win the race. I still believe deep down
8 to
they
5.
could do
You're
it.
out of your mind.
But I'm-
You're absolutely out of your mind. If this thing
I'm
beats
not
me,
emboldened
so
by
be it.
history. I'm not emboldened by the concept of him having to prove it on the surface in circumstances that he's not ever encountered before. So I think that Europe will win, or let's say Europe and Japan. Should we call
Oh,
it?
you get Japan. Wow. All right, go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
non-American based horses.
Yeah, that's right. That's what that was the question.
I'm going to say 4 races.
That's strong. And Caden, the last time we were here, Japan was very strong. And that's why we have 19 horses that shipped over
Yeah.
for this year's championships. This is their first big chance, 8 to 5 favorite in here. How, do you think the Japanese runners are going to have the success they had back in 2021 here at Del Mar?
I think they are going to have success.
Okay.
I don't know that they are going to have as much success as they had the last time around, but they have good runners in some of the top horses. So I would definitely, so I'm right with Rishi as far as 4. I would even maybe go as far as 5, and I think Japan could win at least 2.
All right, they're loading.
All right.
Various delays. Some people have faster things and whatnot. If your feed's slower than mine, mute me, turn me off, do something. I've got a TV here on delay. I've got laptop that's probably delayed too. I don't know how much delay,
For the rest of the load,
but
and then the call. Here's Larry Comas.
let's see.
All right, let's get this party started. The
Go,
juvenile sprint
baby.
field has reached the starting gate. Coro Sieg has moved into line, as is Asterius.
Off the board, off the board.
Shareholder moving into line along with Big Mojo. Magnum Force and Governor Sam take their positions.
3 and 12 are my main
Arizona Blaze
routes
moving
here.
next.
Just overpriced. The 9's all right.
And a
Shareholder.
Whistle Jacket.
But just get this 8 beat.
Here comes
Let's just
Jet
get this
Sweet
8 beat.
Joe.
Let's start it with a goodie.
Eyes of March.
Couple of matchups that are leaning.
And the last one to load will be Pally Kitten.
All right, they're
And
off.
here comes Pally Kitten and Sushi Kimura up to
They're
the
off. I can
outside
see and play
stone.
elsewhere,
Complete
so
field here.
turn over my bet fair because they're ahead of
Pally
me.
Kitten stepping up. Goes in. And they're all in line.
Watch the 13.
They're off in the Breeders' Cup. Turf
Oh, the
sprint.
12 missed it horribly. The
And
13's
Governor
forward.
Sam who goes out to the early lead. Shareholder is away
The
from
10's
second.
there. The
Coro
3's
Sieg
there.
Is in behind traffic early on there. He's going to have to steady
Ooh,
it
the
back.
8 got a
He's
little
in
knock.
little
Ooh,
bit
the
of
8's
trouble
going
in the early
backwards.
stages as Paco Lopez and Governor
All right.
Sam take the lead.
10's in front. The
Asterius
3's
is second.
sitting there. The
Mojo
2's
is
right
third.
on the
Jet Sweet Joe
board.
fourth on the outside. Arizona Blaze and Shareholder have a Coro Sieg
6 is
between
pushing
those
hard.
two.
Big Mojo's pushing
Magnum
hard.
Force, Gate to Wire, Whistle Jacket, Pally Kitten, And last of them all is Ides of March.
Ides of March is starting to wind
Sam
up.
on the inside, Jet Sweep Joe right up alongside. The two of them will turn for home together. Governor Sam on the inside. Long shot Jet Sweep Joe will link behind. Asterios comes off the rail.
Big Mojo. What's the 5?
Not today for a Coral Sea. Governor Sam Dickens, Magnum Force coming with a rush. Arizona Blaze is coming too. And
Jesus
Big Mojo,
Christ, the
here's
4.
the
Big
wire.
Mojo.
Magnum Force has done it.
Jesus.
And then it was Arizona Blaze in second, followed by Big Mojo, Whistle Jacket, and Governor
Magnum
Sam.
Force.
What a finish here in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. Magnum Force taking off like a bullet down the stretch here and catching our pace setter, who was brilliant in defeat. But speaking of brilliant, if you were listening to the comments of Rishi Prasad on this
The 8
show,
got beat.
this
Got the
was
8
his
beat.
horse, and we can see why. We talked about the pace could line up. This is a horse who's always had a big kick, and man, did he show it today.
He's a little bit like I was when I was a teenager. The more trouble you get in, the more fun you have.
I wish I had hung out with you.
And he got the perfect trip in a sense.
Did you notice
He
the
was
price
able to
changes
sit off a
at the end there?
scorching pace, and he had horses
Like
around him
the
to allow
price
him to have that
changes.
cover. He just needed a little
The 8 to
luck
5,
along
9
the
to 5
train,
went
and
to
there was
5
a
to
moment
2.
I was a bit concerned.
The
But
20s went to
brilliant ride from
12s.
Colin Keane, who is
There's
one of
definitely
the
a lot of
stars
money going into
Irish
this
racing,
pool as
and
it's
brilliant
getting
watching him
closed. So
do it on the world
that's
stage.
something to definitely be watchful
Where
of.
we picked it
See,
up,
the 12
winner
ended
and
up
the runner-up
8s.
were 1-2 following each
Yeah,
other
this
around.
is
One
a
goes inside,
lot
one goes
went in at
outside.
the end.
The inside wins.
And it is amazing that, we always talk about trip in here. The 8 at Coral Sea, that horse's day was done early, hit a wall of traffic early, and the 5 to 2 favorite was never a factor at the most crucial stages here. I feel to my right, Scott Hazelton flagging an invisible whip at me. What is he trying to tell you, Rishi?
I think he's saying he was also quite a naughty teenager as well. So
He
we're all
was.
enjoying
We already
that
knew
race.
that. Scott, you needed to come up here and say that. Let's watch out of the gate here, though. As we said, when you have a field this size going 5 furlongs on the turf, there's going to be some tales of unlucky trips. And early on, this was not going to be the day for the 8 of Coral Sea. Watch this horse. Once this one doesn't get to the lead, all of a sudden it's disaster from there on out.
Kurosig in trouble, and then Shareholder comes back on him, and it's caused a bit of a concertina effect. Whistle Jacket, another horse who struggled in the early part of the race. He missed the kick, and he was towards the rear, along with Eyes of March, the other 8, and O'Brien runner. I thought Big Mojo and Asterios had no excuses. They were in a good position, but this is the moment where, if you were on Magnum Force, you're just thinking, I just need clear sailing here. And there was a moment where he had to switch round the front runner. And also Arizona Blaze, who's a big prize for Adrian Murray in the Ammo Racing colours, has made up an enormous amount of ground under Umberto Rispoli on the outside as well.
And Kate, this is just really great instincts for Colin Keane. I mean, there is no sample size for how many times he's been 5 furlongs on the turf at Del Mar. For him to figure that out was pure riding instinct.
World-class riders can ride anywhere in the
Yeah.
world, and that's what we see in the Breeders' Cup over and over again. You have to feel for Alex Bregman and the connections of Governor Sam, who did everything right and ends up in third, a pretty gallant third at that, but did all the heavy lifting and withstood several challengers until late in the game.
Yeah, he ran a fabulous race and ran the archetypical American race. Colin Keane, I think he was very excited as they hit the line. He rode past the wire on Magnum Force. Colin Keane obviously has been running for Joe Lyons for a long time. His other half is actually Joe's daughter, Kerry. I mean, he is an absolute superstar. He has such an easy disposition as well as a rider. It's no wonder that he's able to succeed on the biggest stage, because he's got that ice cold, calculating temperament. They're going to enjoy
That's
this.
wonderful.
Yeah, look at the excitement there. And also great credit to Arizona Blaze with a fantastic second place finish here. So essentially Europe 1-2 to start this championship.
Yeah, that's one of the 4 wins.
That's right. Wasn't it enough
You
that
should
you
have
go
gone with
back
5.
and forth? They're going to remind me of that as well. But brilliant analysis by both Caden and Rishi. And, that last question there, who would handle the ground best? You pointed to the sire of Magnum Force, May Moss, and his progeny being able to take to a firm horse.
Next race.
in California. We're
Can't dwell on
truly
that.
just getting started.
Again, it
I
was
hope
all right.
Rishi has more
Wasn't a disaster.
shots like
Wasn't
that.
the 8.
I'm riding
So
his coattails in a lot of these future races, and we've got more of Future Stars Friday here on the Breeders' Cup Players Show coming up.
4, 5, 10, 3, 7, 4, 5, 10, 3, 7.
Race 6 is official. Coming up next, today's 7th race is the 41st running of the Grade 1 $2 million guaranteed NetJet Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Scratch number 7, non-compliant. Post time 3:25. Yet now, entering the winner's circle is the official winner of today's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. Number 4, Magnum Force. He's a 2-year-old bay colt by Memos from Tropical Rock by Fastnet Rock, bred in Ireland by Sheikh Abdullah bin Isa Al Khalifa. The winner is owned by Abdullah Al Khalifa and trained by Jer Lyons. Colin Keane, the winning jockey.
All right. What's next? Juvenile fillies. Straight into it. No hodgepodging.
Good luck to all those running in the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Big Ass Fans has been serving the equine industry for more than 2 decades to keep both horses and humans safer, healthier, and more productive.
Oh, God.
Visit BigAssFans.com
1 down, 4 to go
learn
for today.
more about
9
how
tomorrow.
custom comfort solutions can transform your space today.
Let's get stuck into this next one.
As the official partner and official timekeeper of the
7.
Breeders' Cup World Championships, Longines is proud to time the iconic Longines Classic race.
All right,
The
so
Swiss watchmaker is looking forward to highlighting the official watch of the
just
event.
take this down.
A new model from the Conquest collection that celebrates its
Logical with
70th
a
anniversary
twist,
this year.
short,
This automatic
immersive
watch combines
2s.
sporty elegance with robustness for everyday use.
Look at that.
Available in a range of sizes, colors,
Chiara.
and materials, this timepiece effortlessly
Quick kick.
adapts to any occasion.
No non-compliant, Noonie. I reckon Bikini probably eased up a little bit after the Scotty Lassie 9-2. 7-2 over there, so
Each detail of your journey is artfully curated, all while NetJets prioritizes your safety and comfort. The result? Absolute peace of mind and luxury. Your moments become even more remarkable as soon as you step
what am I
aboard.
gonna do here?
Find your ideal travel solution at netjets.com.
Quick kick and Noonie. Back to 7, 8, and 12. It's in this one, all right. So 28 minutes. Scottish Lassie. Those prices just dumped and went right into line, right at the end there. It happens, but it really happened there. It was evident. Again, the global market is very different than this track, and I'm guessing there's some playful stuff going on.
Champions here at the Delmar Thoroughbred Club for Breeders' Cup.
I really don't like this Scottish Lassie.
Will be picking up the gorgeous trophy
Lord.
on behalf of the winning owner and breeder, Sheikh
Massive
Abdullah. And
hell is
presenting the
that.
trophy, delighted to welcome once again the Chief Executive and President of Breeders' Cup.
Be too active in this one. Just going to be sweating some positions.
That role, DG Van Cleef and Craig Frabel, gentlemen, welcome, Drew.
Well, it's just a wonderful start to the weekend. I think it just shows the world-class athletes that are here, the internationalism of the Breeders' Cup World Championships. On behalf of our board, our nominators and breeders from around the globe, congratulations, Sheikh Abdullah Al Khalifa. Well done.
Jerome, Jill Lyons had maximum confidence in Magnum Force. Did you share that coming into today?
No, because I was so excited, but no, we are delighted. It's amazing. It's a dream coming true. So delighted for Sheikh Abdullah. He's a homebred, so no, it's a dream come true.
Sheikh Abdullah has bred some wonderful racehorses, the Derby winner at Epsom Camelot perhaps being the best of them. Where will this rank for him winning a Breeders' Cup race?
Oh, I see in the top. It's running his own colours, so he's delighted. He's over the moon. Just a bit.
Jerome, congratulations. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Congratulations also to Colin Keane, 2 out of 2 in Breeders' Cups, and to Jer Lyons, a Breeders' Cup first for him. Magnum Force dominates his rivals in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint, Greg.
Elegance is an attitude.
This is a Kentucky thoroughbred. This is a Kentucky built powerfoil industrial fan. Like a thoroughbred, it too delivers unrivaled performance. And while they both run with purpose and pride, this one also runs to keep your workforce feeling cool and comfortable. Powerfoil, our best-selling big fan, hands down. BigFans.com. Comfort without compromise.
Hi, I'm Greg. I live in Bloomington, Illinois. I'm not an actor. I'm just a regular person. Some people say, why should I take Prevagen? I don't have a problem with my memory. Memory loss is not something that occurs overnight. I started those subtle lapses in memory. I want people to know that Prevagen has worked for me. It's helped my memory. It's helped my cognitive qualities. Give it a try. I want it to help you just like it has helped me. Prevagen at stores everywhere without a prescription. This is a cowboy. Recognized around the world as a romantic symbol of the American West. But in Texas, this is a cowboy.
We're going to try and get the 3 beat here, so.
There's never been a better time to download the FanDuel Racing app. Sign up is quick and easy, so come join the fun. Personalize your very own race page with new and exciting handicapping tools and insights, and watch your favorite races live from over 300 tracks worldwide, including FanDuel TV right on your phone. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $500. If your first bet doesn't win, don't sweat it. Get up to $500 back as a racing bonus. Download the FanDuel Racing app now.
The last time the $2 million NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies came to Del Mar, the odds-on favorite Echo Zulu validated the confidence of the bettors with a runaway victory. 4 years earlier, the outcome produced a much more surprising result, as Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith guided Caledonia Road to the winner's circle. And Take Charge Brandy scored an even bigger upset in 2014, winning at odds of 61 to 1. And giving legendary trainer D. Wayne Lucas the most recent of his record 6 wins in this race. This is the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
The Heroes on the board early in this Breeders' Cup Future Stars Friday with that victory from Magnum Force in the Juvenile Turf Sprint. We turn our attention to the main track coming up next. It is the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. You have 22 minutes until post time if you would like to make your wagers. Christina Blacker, Gabby Gaudette, Simon Bright with you here on the Players Show set. And Gabby, as expected, Immersive opens up as the favorite.
She's undefeated for trainer Brad Cox. Manny Franco has been aboard this filly in all 3 of those undefeated starts. And she just keeps getting better and better. And I just took a peek over my shoulder, Simon, a moment ago. She couldn't look any better. She is what we say dappled from head to toe, and she certainly looks like she's thriving right now.
Yeah, she's in a good spot right now. She's progressed from 6 to 7.5 to 2 turns. That's proven that she can get the 2-turn trip. She is clearly the one to beat and was aided by the scratch of non-compliant. I think that was a big scratch earlier today.
Let's take a look at why. Her most recent performance was the Grade 1 Alcibiades at Keeneland as she stepped into Greatest Stakes competition. And she also stepped up and tripped to the mile of 16.
Yeah, and she kind of creates her own trip. She was fourthly placed in her maiden debut at Saratoga. Then she came back in the spin away. She kind of overcame maybe a length off the pace. And then in this race, Simon, she had pretty much everything go her way, but she is one of those horses that can create her own trip, and she proved that she is just as good at
Okay. She has tactical speed. I like quick kick a little bit for trainer Tom Amos, but she comes from a little further back. So advantage Immersive each and every time. She's going to be a little more forwardly placed, and I think that's going to bode well for her. But this is a good group, a well matched group of fillies here, I think, in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
As far as the pace goes, I mean, the longer I looked at the race, the more I thought Junie, the 8, might be able to get a little loose on the lead. I know there's some other horses that want to be somewhat forwardly placed, but she's very, very quick.
She is very quick. Also, I think American Bikini, it's sometimes hard to know whether or not form from other countries is going to translate here in the States, because our horses are very, very fast, but she also has been very fast and prominently placed in her races. But here's the 8 Noonie. She is the only horse in the field here as well, with a win at Del Mar, and that came in the Grade 3 Sorrento in just her second start.
Yeah, but as the races have got longer, her performances haven't been quite as good as she was early on. So we'll see how it fares and plays out here, going 2 turns again.
Let's go into the paddock with Andrew Biancone.
Christina, thank you. We're getting a very short price on the number 3 Immersive, but this filly is undefeated, and I still don't think we've seen her best. She looks even better today than she did last time out in the Alcibiades. She's dappled from head to toe. Some horses just really like Del Mar, and I think Immersive is one of those horses. Just the sea air, like I said, her coat looks fantastic. She's holding her weight well, and I think that 3 post position is perfect for her. But I'm also going to throw in the number 9 American Bikini. Super striking filly in this group, walks like she's the biggest horse in this paddock, carries herself very tall with a lot of confidence, and she's been one who's been fun to watch train in the morning. She's very energetic in her gallops, always wants to do more, and seems like she's handling this track well. But 7-2 on her is a great price, Joaquin.
Yeah, thank you. I'm here with Manny Franco. He's going to be aboard the favorite, the 3-horse in Immersive. Manny, she upset the field in her first 2 starts, 10-1 and 12-1. Did she even surprise you with those performances?
Not really. We kind of thought she was a good filly since day one, and she's proven it. So today, hopefully, we get a clean trip and see what we got.
She also went around 2 turns for the first time in the Alcibiades Stakes at Keeneland Racecourse. What did you learn her about that performance in the Alcibiades at Keeneland?
We know that she got the distance with no problem, and that kind of gave me a lot of confidence on her. So, like I say, hopefully for the best today. Hopefully for the best.
Appreciate it, Manny. Good luck. Michelle?
I'm open to any questions. If there's any questions, if there's even anybody there.
Thanks, Joaquin. I was walking with Ryan Maurice. Hesitant to talk, though, because he says he doesn't know much about it. How do you go into a race without knowing a lot about a horse? When do you make that strategy plan?
Sorry, I just got my deal. Sorry.
Nice.
All business, as he often is in interviews. Ryan Moore straight to the owners to try and get a little more information about this filly. But look, it was clear that he doesn't know a lot about her. It will be his first time aboard her in the afternoon. But Simon, this is why you employ an all-world rider like a Ryan Moore. You can jump up in a race like this, not having any physical, tangible familiarity with that horse, and still ride a championship race.
Well, think about Ryan Moore. He's an international rider now. I mean, he's ridden in Japan. He has a big association. He rode there with a short-term license. He's ridden in America. So it's interchangeable. So And I think what's interesting here is that you saw the connections of American Bikini inquired about the logistics to get her before she even ran here. And that's a positive sign of intent, how well they thought she was. It's not something that the Japanese have done, is ship 2-year-olds around the world. The fact they were looking into coming here before she even made her racetrack debut, I think is a huge positive sign.
Sometimes horses, they can surprise you, and sometimes you know all along from day one, once they start working on the track, that they're capable of running in a race like the Breeders' Cup. This is her effort last time out at Chukyo, and this was record-setting time as well. She dominated against this group this day. She won by 7 when she broke her maiden in her second start back in July as well. And she just looks like she keeps getting better, and you can see where she is positioned. I know we're just showing you the stretch run, but she is also a filly that has and possesses a ton of early speed.
I think that's a big part of assessing any of the international competitors this year. We've talked a lot about City of Troy in the Classic. A big part of that confidence is the fact that he does put himself right into the race, won't be shuffled back. It seems the same with her. Whether she's on the lead or not is a question, but she won't be too far off of it if her first couple races are any indication.
Yeah, she's going to put herself in a position to where if she's good enough, she can go ahead and win the race. She's not going to spot the field 20 lengths and try and come from off the pace.
She's favored in the poll on Twitter. Make your voice heard. Grab your phone, scan that QR code if you'd like to cast a vote yourself. Immersive getting some attention. Scottish Lassie up there as well. Same for Nudie in this group.
So what I think is interesting, Simon, and I can't really figure this out, Immersive. Manny said that they liked her from day one. Brad liked her from day one. She went off at 10-1. When do you see maiden special weight horses debut for Brad at 10-1? And then she came back in the spinaway. She was 12-1. She won that race. And still today, I know she's the favorite right now, but I'm trying to figure out if she was a little bit of a surprise to the connections in what she's done on the track.
Yeah, I mean, she's the opposite of American Bikini, right? The connections really liked her going in, and they knew what they had before they ran her. These types of horses surprise trainers. It does happen. And I think sometimes it's a positive because those are the types of horses that don't leave their races on the racetrack in the morning. They're not that aggressive, nobly aggressive in the morning. They don't, they're not pleasing to the eye as a workhorse, and sometimes they get dismissed. And then when they come to complete in the afternoon, it's a whole different ballgame.
Debbie, how important is it that Immersive has the experience around 2 turns already coming into the day today? Because we see so many horses from overseas, from New York, because of the track configuration, that haven't tried the route yet.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's still an unknown. You can lean on pedigree, you can lean on the conformation of a horse and think that they can go 2 turns, but you don't know it until you try it, and we already know that Immersive can't go this distance.
Second, we get the opportunity for the last 5 races and all stakes pick 5, but the same to be said for the late pick 4 in here. Are you playing the all stakes late pick 4?
Yes, I think this is a great sequence. I really do. I mean, it's wide open. I like the 1 vodka with a twist a little bit. She's coming out of the debutante, but I'm going to use 3, 5, 9, 10 in here. So Immersive, Quick Kick, who I mentioned earlier. If she can lay a little closer, she's a threat here. American Bikini, and then Scottish Lassie. I mean, Danny Gargan talks about the best maiden race of the country was on the 1st of September at Saratoga. Quick Kick was first, Snow White was second, Scottish Lassie was third. They all come back in here again today. Race 8, Late Victoria, I think is going to be an obvious choice in there. And the other horse I'm using is the 7th Thought Process. I really believe this filly has a chance to upset the Europeans in this race. She's, to me, been very pleasing to the eye training. I think she's a really good horse. Race number 9, East Avenue. I kind of tipped my hand all week there. I'm all in on that. And then to spread all over the place in race number 10. 1, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12. I have no real strong opinion in that race.
$24 investment for Simon Bray. If you'd like to use that ticket for yourself, play the late pick 4 sequence in here. Let's talk a little more about Scottish Lassie. As I was handicapping this race early before the draw, she reminded me a lot of Jody's Pride last year, a horse that ran a huge
matchup's decent. Matchups are all right.
Coming into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile fillies this year. Now, Jody's Pride, I picked her last year. She was 20-1 last year. This filly was the morning line favorite. She's a little bit cold in terms of the wagering.
Let's see what we're saying between Betfair and that.
One is about fair, considering what we're asking of her this afternoon.
Absolutely, and she has this outside post position and has to get the 2 turns for the first time, but how impressive was this effort? And although she has a lot of speed, she showed that in her sprint race, she showed it even last time out, but she's handy, Simon. She can be taken off the pace, and this is just the type of horse that I think is versatile, but it's, again, another one that you don't know until they try it. I think it speaks to how confident they were to run her in a Grade 1 as a maiden last time out, though.
I would agree with that. She's 4-1 to the outside. Scottish Lassie, as we have the call for Riders Up in our FanDuel TV studios in Los Angeles. Jeff Anderson, how are you playing this race?
Hey team, looking fantastic out there on course. I think we chase a bit of a price. I'm looking for experience at the 2 turns and more of a progressive type. You know, I think we get that with the 5-hare quick kick. Also exits the Alcibiades, which we've seen for Immersive the 3, but if it's a game of chasing value at 7-1 or more, I think the 5 quick kick having that devastating turn of foot late where there's not a lot of fitness, there's question marks across this field at this particular distance. Let's go the price play. Back to you, team.
Dubs, I like it, and Simon in agreement as well with Quick Kick, the daughter of McKinsey. His offspring strong in their first attempt at the route. She was second behind Immersive in that race, and so if you're getting 2-1 on Immersive right now, you look at that 7-1 on Quick Kick. It's attractive when you consider it's only a length and a quarter difference between them.
And the main track that day was very, very hard to close at Keeneland, so I thought Immersive might have had the advantage from that standpoint. Quick Kick had a wide trip and had to close. And here we look at the post grade, the number 1 Vodka was the twist to keep things off at 8-1.
Yeah, here is Snow White starting it off 21-1. Look, I think that's a huge price. I know she's a maiden, but she's run behind a couple of the major players in here.
Immersive has done nothing wrong in all 3 of her starts. She comes into this race undefeated, this Godolphin homebred.
4 is Lacara for Mark Cassie, has the experience, 5 starts, 2 wins. She's had a lot of races. She's currently 15-1.
Quick Kick, the number 5 horse at 7-1. She was very impressive in breaking her maiden at Saratoga, and she came back with a very game effort in the Grade 1 Darley Alcibiades against Immersive. I think she can turn the tables today.
First of the Japanese invaders here, Otomino Shacho comes into the picture here at 45-1. A massive off a 5-length maiden win.
Big scratch of the 7 non-compliant.
On the 1.
That takes us to the 8. Nooney.
Immersive against the 3.
I wonder if she is most effective at the 2 turns, but there's no doubt about her
Car.
style. She
Quick kick, quick kick.
Is American
Quick kick,
Bikini.
quick
She looks
kick.
good. She's 1 start away from being undefeated. Connections really liked her. She makes a very nice presence here on the racetrack.
Scottish Lassie,
And then
4-1.
the 10 Scottish Lassie is the last horse in the post grade. She won the Grade 1 for Zet last time out in hand.
Nothing really much of
9
interest
lengths,
here.
Certainly very impressive.
We'll circle back really quickly and give you a better view.
Only
of
the
Vodka
8,
with the twist that
7
came
to
out
1.
quickly for this post grade. Here she is at
1-8 to 1,
the
the
daughter
2
of
20 to
Dallas
1.
Horse. Another horse who's trying the route.
Don't have to play every
for the
race.
first time today. She has plenty of
You know,
speed from the inside.
like to
I
play
always
every
wanted
race,
to
but
use her from
you
that
don't need to.
position.
So
So she is a horse that has a lot of high energy. I
See
was
where it
watching
goes
her in
from
the
here.
paddock yesterday. She was trying to kick everybody that was by her, and she was much more reserved on the track today, but that's always something, a component that you need to pay attention in these 2-year-old races. This is a big day. There's a lot of noises. There's a lot of people out here, and how they keep their composure.
Let's catch up with the connections of Vodka with a twist.
Medallion Racing will be looking forward to Porto Fortuna tomorrow, but kicking it off of the juveniles is going to be Vodka with a twist. I'm joined by Philip Shelton. Have you guys been just waiting to get this filly 2 turns?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's a big scopy filly. You know, pedigree, it's hard to know 1,000 words. His first crop 2-year-olds aren't getting 2-year-old or 2-turn races yet, but he's my Pioneer of the Nile. He went long, and we feel like she's the way she trains. Distance is not going to be a problem. Until they do it, you don't really know. But, you know, I'm not overly concerned about the distance right now.
People seem upset with either the rail or the outside draw. How do you feel?
The reality is you don't control the draw, so whatever you draw, you just got to live with it and make the best of it. And, you know, I think she's got enough speed. Like, she's been chasing 44 and change halves. So I think no matter how quick they go, if we need to be a little bit closer, we can. If they just absolutely blitz, you know, she's proven she can come from off the pace. So I think that versatility helps.
You guys opted to bypass the Chandelier, the Oakleaf, it's called now, at Santa Anita, and wait for this. How come?
I think she's had 5 starts. You know, a lot of these 2-year-olds are pretty lightly raced. You know, it's basically she rushed into a suicidal pace in the Del Mar Debutante. She battled the whole length of the stretch. We just felt like it was a tough race. You know, she likes the track here. She's a no shot being a Grade 1 winner here. Let's just get her, freshen her up, be ready for this race. And, you know, we'll see in about 20 minutes if we're right.
Best of luck.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle.
Good luck to Medallion Racing both today and tomorrow. Some international horses campaigned for them with Porto Fortuna. So very, very interesting and fun weekend for them and all of their partners. Speaking of interesting, how about this special daily double, which starts right here in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies into the Longines Breeders' Cup Distaff tomorrow. Depending on how you feel about Torpedo Anna, you might be able to find your coverage here and be playing this a little bit more narrow on the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a look at the number 8 Noonie, sent out by trainer Bob Baffert, who was originally supposed to have 2 in this race, but now only represented by this filly. And here's a little DRF formulator stat. Over the past 4 years, trainer Bob Baffert has gone 10 for 27. That's 37% and a big positive ROI of $3.96, with second time routing juveniles on the dirt. And of course, that would apply to Noonie, who stretched out a distance in the Oakleaf last time out and now remains at the 2 turns in this event.
I think they're going to go. I mean, if the intent is there. If you look at the workouts, look, bullet workouts mean nothing for trainer Bob Baffert's horses were fast, but to have a gate work 5 8s 59 and 2 coming into the Breeders' Cup like this, when you're talking about a horse that's ran 4 times, I think they've just got one way to go, and that's go to the front and improve your position. So you know what you're going to get from Noonie. Can she get clear? Can she hold on at the distance?
I think she can. I think some of the other horses that have the speed that she does haven't gone 2 turns yet. Vodka with a Twist, do you really want to send her out there in 46 when you know that Noonie might be able to keep going and you're trying the route for the first time? Same to be said for Scottish Lassie. She's drawn all the way outside. How much do you use in the early stages to try to keep up with a horse like Noonie when you're trying the route for the first time today? I think they might leave her alone out there on the front end.
That would be very interesting, because if that's the case, she might be able to pull this off, because we know how well speed does on the main track here at Del Mar. And this is a look at Noonie last time out in the Grade 2 Oakleaf. Now, she lost to non-compliant. Non-compliant probably would have been one of your favorites in this race. But yeah, if she gets off on the front end by herself, there is a case to be made that
So non-compliant was a horse that I was looking at in this, and it scratched.
That American Bikini, she will be forwardly placed, and Immersive
let's see what,
isn't really that slow. She was very close to the pace last time
Beat
out.
Noonie.
Immersive up on the board at 9-5. She is favorite right now, and she was the morning line choice as well. Humbred, North Dolphin, a daughter of Nyquist, out of that mare. That gap here, Bernardini mare on the bottom side. Plenty of distance, plenty of pedigree for her. How do you think she's going to take to Del Mar specifically, Simon, for what you've seen from her?
I'm sorry.
Immersive. How do you think she'll take to Del Mar?
I think she'll be fine with Del Mar. I really do. I have no problem with that. I mean, she's on her toes right here. Like I said, I think the fact that she's not going to be too far back is her biggest asset. I think that's not a problem. I mean, she's getting, on her toes there. She knows it's race day, big crowd, as Gabby referenced. And I think that puts her in the perfect spot. I love the post position for her, post position 3.
She does look like she's getting a little riled up, though. I don't recall her being like this last time out. I thought she was very professional, and right now she's kind of showing me a little nervous energy on the track.
She is just kind of sidestepping a little bit there with the pony. Simon, I feel like we haven't talked enough about Snow White. And I know she's a maiden, but her sire, Good Magic, broke his maiden in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Is this within grasp for her today?
I think it is. It's not out of the realm of possibility, only because she's a 2-year-old. Probably if it was an older horse in a situation like that, but they're still improving. And I thought she was visually one of the most impressive workers of the week. I don't even remember. She was one of the ones that we covered early on Breakfast of the Breeders' Cup. She went down there. I was shocked. It was 47.59 and change. When you look at what she was doing, and then you looked at the stopwatch, it was remarkable. So Danny Gargan was very high on her. I referenced that maiden race. She's right there with form. And maybe the 2 turns is going to be to her liking as well.
From a physical standpoint, I just saw her in the paddock. She looks like she will love every bit of a distance of ground, and she's bred for it. She has a lot of power behind the saddle, which you like to see. Sometimes 2-year-old fillies can be a little bit on the lighter side, lightly framed, but she has that length, the scope, and kind of the build that would suggest she'd be fine at 2 turns.
One thing I also noticed just now, we saw Immersive and maybe on her toes a little bit in the atmosphere of a big day like today, getting to her a touch. Snow White was not turning a hair, as was American Bikini without a pony out there on her own.
Yeah, no, and that's huge. That is huge, especially on a day like today, Simon. These are lightly raced horses. They're 2-year-olds. They're learning. Some of these horses have only been here for a couple of days as well. So there's so many things that are unfamiliar, and that's why you have to pay attention to not only the form, but also how these horses are behaving. And I would say, White's looking very well on the track as well. American Bikini is so professional.
Well, they're used to it. I mean, we've talked about this week. When they go to the races to break their meet, they're used to a crowd of 40, 50,000 just to watch a regular day of races. So they're used to the crowds. They're out of the stalls a lot. I don't think this is anything new to them. But for the most part, for a young group of fillies, freshman filly, I mean, they're behaving pretty well.
Big Four full $1.6 million and counting. If you'd like to play, let's give some attention to the 4, Lacara, in here for Mark Cassie. The winner of the Pocahontas, first time at the route for her today. Her sire street since 19% on the dirt with those trying 2 turns for the first time.
She beat my top pick in Quick Kick when she broke her maiden at Saratoga by 8 lengths.
Yeah, it's quiet at the moment. It's just not an exciting race.
Going a mile, and it was a good race. Some of the
Got a
horses
bunch
that
of
have
stuff
exited
sweating
that
on.
race, Simon, they have not run well. They progressed in form.
see if
Liam
I
in the
can get
Dust was last in the Alcibiades. The 3rd place finisher came back to be 5th in the Frizette. So I don't know what to make of that race just as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, one race she's beating Quick Kick by 8 lengths, and then the next she's, it's a reverse key race. She came from far back. I will say this about Lacara: as the races have got longer, she's got better. And when you look at the pedigree, Street Sense out of a Bernardini mare, she's probably thriving for what she's going to do today.
Only one we haven't mentioned, the 6 horse 40-1, Otomino Shapcho up there at a very, very big price, right? Gabby, bottom line, who wins?
I went to the 5 Quick Kick. I thought she was up against it last time out. She's the top.
Throwing out the 9 and the 10.
I'm going to stick with the 3 Immersive. I mean, she's getting a little hot, but coming in, I thought
Throw out the 9 and the 10. We'll go for American Bikini and Scottish Lassie. All right, getting ready.
And the last couple of fillies are moving into the starting gate here as Lacara steps
They're
out.
off.
Just a couple behind the gate now, and American Bikini.
Oh, God.
These runners in the field.
9 and the
She's
10.
come forward to be second last to go into the starting gate. Ryan Moore in the saddle. And the last one to come up will be Scottish Lassie. And Scottish Lassie comes up to the outside stall. They're all in line. We are ready for the start. They're off in the Breeders' Cup.
All right.
Juvenile fillies, and Nooney
Again.
goes immediately to the early lead. Sent along by Flavian Pratt to establish early command here. American Bikini goes with her on the outside. Vodka with a twist is away running in 3rd. Immersive is 4th. Then Scottish Lassie a bit wide into that turn. Snow White and Lacara are next. Then Otomino Shapcho, who is second last early ahead of Quick Kick, the trailer. So the fillies make their way onto the backstretch, and Nooney is the one to catch, and she's opened up 3 on the American Bikini through a 22 flat opening quarter mile. So Nooney
Fast horse.
motoring along up front. American Bikini on the outside, Vodka with a twist along the rail, heads apart 2nd and 3rd. And then it's Immersive 4th, and she's got 7 to make up at this stage. On her outside is Scottish Lassie up the backstretch. Break of 2.5 back to Snow White. And then comes Lacara at the back, our Quick Kick and Otomino Shapcho. 44.99 was Mooney's half mile, and Nooney heads for the far turn with a 4-length lead. 3 furlongs from the finish. Vodka with a twist is come on, and Scottish Lassie is moving to American Bikini's given way. Immersive is under a drive. She's got 3 lengths to make up as Vodka with a twist has taken the lead, and Scottish Lassie confronts her at the top of the stretch. Vodka with a twist. Scottish Lassie, Immersive, has kicked it into high gear now. And here
comes
the
Immersive.
undefeated filly, and she goes right on
Yeah.
by at the gate pole.
Too good.
Immersive has taken charge, and she is pulling away under Manny Franco. Here is a champion, no doubt. The undefeated Immersive wins the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Vodka with a twist was 2nd, Quick Kick was 3rd, and Scottish Lassie was 4th.
Too good. Clearly too good.
Her perfect record remains intact. A champion out there on the racetrack. This 2-year-old daughter of Nyquist, Immersive, undefeated, and your winner of the juvenile fillies.
Nudie went out there. She set very fast fractions that she could not sustain.
Not a good result,
so we
that
knew,
one.
Simon, that it was going to set up for one of these fillies that was closing. It took Immersive a little bit of time to get going, but once she did, she certainly was impressive.
Big, imposing filly. She had the table set for her in perfect fashion by Nudie. She went through a half mile in 44 and change. She's sitting back there at 5th right now, and he's just starting to have to ask her. Pulls down the goggles, flagging the stick at it, starting to pick it up because here comes Nudie. She's starting to pick it up in reverse, and there was the move. Once he got her outside here, she just lengthened her stride, and she picked up the pieces here. Very, very impressive. And this is a filly that clearly is going to develop into a top-class 3-year-old next year. She's got all the physical.
Too good, too good, too
And we
good.
talk about Godolphin, Brad Cox. They're no strangers.
The next race might be a horse that's just damn too good too. This.
Especially for this outfit. He doesn't have many opportunities for a trainer like Brad Cox or Godolphin to that point. So the fact that he delivered this picture-perfect ride, I would say, is, you know, a career high for this
3,
jockey.
1,
Absolutely, I agree with that. And in the early
5,
stages,
10.
Nudie went out there, set the pace. That's Bob Baffert's game. You knew they were going to be aggressive with her. 22 flat, 44 and 4. But it felt like Immersive was under a drive just to barely keep up. 5, 6, 7 lengths off that pace. I mean, she was ridden by Manny Franco every step of this mile and 16 journey today.
He absolutely did. I mean, he asked her throughout, and I think that was the key to winning this race. So, I mean, he obviously
Japanese horses aren't going to find much money after
But
this.
if you let your filly fall back too far,
Showing
a
up,
horse
so.
like Quick Kick, who was last behind this hot pace, you're never going to make up that ground, especially on the main track at Del Mar.
Right, he was trying to maintain his position. If you look at the 3 races of Immersive, the opening half miles have been 45 and change, 46 and change. It was 44 today, right? The opening half mile. I mean, that's a second, 2 seconds. That's almost a 10-length difference. And that's why she was, you know, run off her feet a little bit. But I thought Manny Franco did a good job in not letting it get sucked back too far.
Oh, slow start. On to the next one.
When she started spinning her wheels, and he got her outside. And once he did, then she just lengthened her stride.
The juvenile fillies turf, where we have a hot favorite and a big sweat. A big sweat
Yes, dead last came around.
for our friends. Big sweat.
This going to East Avenue a little later.
Immersive home on top. Vodka with a twist second. Quick Kick checking in at third. Let's go on board with jockey Manny Franco and Immersive. This is where Nudie starts to
open.
back up, and now he just has those 2 horses sitting in the catbird seat to try and run down.
And you kind of can see him looking underneath of his arm, trying to see if anybody's running to his outside. And once he kind of figured that nobody really was a threat at this point, he knew that he had the 2 to his inside pass. And this is a good side here.
Yeah, good feeling. I mean, as a rider, he automatically knew he had the 2 to the inside covered. He's probably taking a peek at the video board there just to make sure nobody's coming late. There's the peek to the right just to make sure. And into the winner's circle he goes.
Brad Cox, your winning conditioner, Manny Franco. A career day for him here for Godolphin as Silks of Sheikh Mohammed in the winner's circle for your Net Jets. Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Immersive.
And now, entering the winner's circle is the official winner of today's NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, number 3, Immersive. She's a 2-year-old Bay filly by Nyquist, from Gap Year by Bernardini. It was bred in Kentucky by Godolphin, owned by Godolphin LLC. The winning trainer is Brad Cox. Manny Franco, the winning jockey.
is the official partner and official timekeeper of the Breeders' Cup World Championships. Longines is proud to time the much-anticipated Longines Distaff race. The Swiss watchmaker is looking forward to highlighting the official watch of the event, a new model from the Conquest collection that celebrates its 70th anniversary this year. This automatic watch combines sporty elegance with robustness for everyday use. Available in a range of sizes, colors, and materials, this timepiece effortlessly adapts to any occasion. The San Diego Tourism Authority welcomes you to the Breeders' Cup World Championship. After an unforgettable day at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club, experience the finest San Diego has to offer. 70 miles of scenic coastline, a dynamic culinary scene, and world-class experiences. Discover more at sandiego.org.
All right, so I mean, you look at the morning lines. These morning lines that were put out for these races are absolutely garbage. You know, the idea is the morning line should line it up, but yeah, they're not. They weren't good at all. This Lake Victoria, very much the hot favorite, and if you ask many if they had to pick one for 2 days, this would likely be it. But let's see if we can get a beat. We need to get a beat. Seriously beat. Oh, God. Here we go. The 7 thought process, been strong, hasn't beaten much though. The 8, Heaven's Gate. Need to see what they come up with these opening.
Immersed with winning connections as well. On behalf of Sheikh Mohammed's Godolphin operation, I'm joined by Michael Banahan to receive the trophy. Michael is the director of Bloodstock for Dali USA. Of course, Brad Cox, Mike Frank alongside us as well.
11, 12, 13 don't seem horrible either.
Jim Bostic, who's the Executive Vice President of Sales for our sponsors here at NetJets. I'm going to ask you, Jim, to present the trophy.
Thank you. Congratulations. On behalf of NetJets, the worldwide leader in private aviation, we are honored. I'm honored. What an amazing race to present to you the championship trophy for the 2020.
Now, this is where if you really like the favorite and you want to find some exacta value or trifecta value, you know, the favorite might be short, but the others it's wide open. So this is where you key the one on top and play around underneath, and plenty of money in the pools could end up paying all right. So if you really like the one, if you want to get a beat, you know, maybe you can key it in the second spot and a few on top of it, but it looks a good
winner on the Breeders' Cup, and sort of felt like with a NetJet sponsorship, felt like a jet coming down the stretch there. So we're delighted to get the win. Manny gave her a super ride, and obviously Brad had her trained to the T. So it was a super win for us.
And of course, you have East Avenue in the corresponding race for Colts later on, trained by Brendan Walsh. Are you even more excited potentially about what he might be able to do?
Look, we're very excited about all the horses that we have, and it was great to get the first win. And let's see what happens. But we wouldn't trade a place with anyone else with East Avenue. So fingers crossed for later on.
I wanted to have another very quick word with Brad Cox. I was listening to you talking to Kenny Rice just a few moments ago, and he was talking about your great touch with these 2-year-old fillies. They developed so well, older as well. Monomoy Gov was a great champion for you. Idiomatic recently retired to the paddock. Could we be talking about Immersive in those terms in the next couple of years?
I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, obviously a 3-time Grade 1 winner, part of Sheikh Mohammed's great breeding operation, and Scott's Limit.
Sky's the limit. You heard it here first, Brit. Immersive is the heroine of the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
There has never been a better time to download the FanDuel Racing app. What are you waiting for? Sign up is quick and easy. There are 0 deposit fees, and withdrawals come super fast. Easily track your wagers, rapidly build new tickets, and quickly view potential payouts with FanDuel's My Best experience. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $500. If your first bet doesn't win, don't sweat it. Get up to $500 back as a racing bonus. Download now.
Your memory is an amazing thing, but sometimes it can start to slow down. But did you know Prevagen can help keep your memory sharp? The secret is the powerful ingredient apoaquarin, originally discovered in jellyfish and found only in Prevagen. In a clinical study, Prevagen was shown to improve memory in subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired. Stay sharp and improve your memory with Prevagen. Prevagen, in stores everywhere without a prescription.
This is a Kentucky thoroughbred. This is a Kentucky-built power-foil industrial fan. Like a thoroughbred, it too delivers unrivaled performance.
All right, 25 minutes to the next. Let's walk.
This one also runs to keep your workforce feeling cool and comfortable. Powerfoil, our best-selling big fan, hands down. BigFans.com. Comfort without compromise.
At Calumet Farm, we're proud to offer proven stallions to fit every breeder's needs. Over 72 million progeny weddings on dirt and turf. Our diverse roster is producing the champions of today and tomorrow. Calumet Farm, a legacy reborn.
Elegance is an attitude. Trainer Chad Brown has 6 wins in the $1 million John Deere Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, including the 2017 renewal with Rushing Fall. When Del Mar next hosted the Cup, it was a filly owned by renowned chef Bobby Flay, Pizza Bianca, that came weaving through traffic in the stretch to taste victory. The first European-based runner to win this race was French-bred Flotilla in 2012. She navigated some heavy traffic before exploding in mid-stretch for a decisive score. This is the John Deere Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf.
Immersive, so impressive on
Hey.
the main track. It's
No,
time for
not yet.
2-year-old fillies
All right.
to step on
Hey,
to the
Bruce.
turf course here
All
for
right.
a 1-mile journey.
Um,
Back to the player show, Christina
I was
Blackburn,
checking
Gavin
out
Now
the
joins
thing where
Brett
you said it went
Prasad,
back to the
Arish
whips or
Time to
something.
bring you back in as we have
When
one of the
when you're keying an
heaviest
exacta or
favorites that we're
something.
going to see on this Future Stars Friday from Aidan
I
O'Brien's
don't.
yard.
Lake Victoria has been touted by a number of
I don't see it
Europeans as
doing
the
that.
best chance of the European victory. Obviously, one on the board already, but
Like
certainly
if you-
perhaps the best of the Aidan O'Brien runners. She's unbeaten. She's been a very progressive, yes, unbeaten, but very
let me
progressive
try that.
2-year-old. She won a couple of softish races to begin with, and then she won a Group 1 in Ireland, the Moy Glen Stud Stakes, and then she won the Cheaping Park. So it would be very rare for a European, British, Irish team.
No, I think first race was okay, second race was no good, and this race is
And she needed a horse
big,
to be
big
disqualified in order to get 3 Group 1s in
swing.
one season. The interesting thing about Lake
This
Victoria
race is potentially a big, big, big swing.
ones, the 2 Group 1 victories, I think have come a little bit
Yeah.
softer than those 2 races have been traditionally in years gone by.
Very, very poignant information. We're going to stay with Lake Victoria in terms of this conversation. Andy had a chance to catch up with her trainer.
Aiden O'Brien sends out the
Right.
number 1, Lake Victoria, undefeated in 4 starts and 2 Grade 1 victories. She's never gone around 2 turns, though. How do you feel she'll handle it, Aiden?
Yeah, we think it hopes she
Yeah, that was just insane, the price in the first. But then, I mean, the amount of money that went into that pool as they jumped was just
How do you feel
insane
about the
for
real
it to
post?
change that much.
I think it's fine. I'd imagine Ryan will go forward from there because he won't want to be too far back. She usually is a quick breaker, so I'd imagine he'd be handy without going too early. But
I have
Ryan
the
will make that
Breeders'
decision.
Cup
Will she settle coming
Up,
up behind
uh,
horses?
I think she will. Yeah, she's very relaxed usually.
the
Yeah,
fan
she's
the
usually very
FanDuel feeds
straightforward.
like about
Aiden, thank you so much. and
45
best of luck.
seconds behind what I have on the internet.
Back
So
to you guys. So we just heard from Aiden that she is a good
Oh, that's
horse,
even further
but I wanted
behind.
to bring that up to you because 2
Yeah, I
starts back
have
in the Moingler
MS
stud,
in
when I
his
watched the break,
Sports
she actually
Philadelphia.
ducked out left. And then
And
last
that's
time
all.
out when I watched her break, it almost looked like she took a couple of stutter
Yeah.
steps and bobbled out of the starting gate. That's why I couldn't like her at 1 to 2. You have to be really sharp out of the gate. What was your take on that?
Well, traditionally, as you know, winning or running in any race in Europe, particularly in Britain and Ireland, you can fall out.
Yeah, that's what I woke up to a bunch of messages saying 6 and 2 versus 2 and 6. How can this be like that? And
And it's fine to make up the ground.
so they're the
Always be the opportunity. I, considering her doing that in the context of a race
Right.
like this, as we saw with.
and
horse
then
like
I
the
sort of
Grand
said, well,
Prix,
that's
the
you know,
Japanese horse in
when
the
something looks too
juvenile
good in the
Turf
NFL,
Sprint,
that's
it puts you on the back foot.
how it
And
often
again,
shows up.
that
I mean,
point added
they were
to my
down, and
concerns over the strength of her last 2 wins, admittedly
But,
Group 1 company. It's more
yeah.
of a challenge that a horse at that price is.
Let's go back into the paddock.
yeah,
Yes, Stephanie.
like if you're just looking at it from the teams and the stuff like that,
Frankie
just
Dettori
it
rides
looked
number
like
12,
the wrong
Mayday Ready,
favorite. But
Avenida.
then that 2.5,
Well, she's seemingly very tough as she
they
up
bet the
this
Jets.
challenge.
So
She's lovely. She hasn't let me down yet. I got a tough post on 12. But I have to figure out to find a way through. But yeah, she's definitely in the right place.
She had a bump and a tough race last time.
Right.
It might have made a woman of her.
and at the end of the day, it's you know the money holds it up. Didn't go anywhere. So
It looks quite hard to beat, but
I mean, if it was really
then we're gonna roll the dice.
a number that
You're the best.
the pros or something could would think the same thing, you know, it held up. It's just
This race off way the
agreeing with what you're saying.
Grade 2 Miss Grillo Stakes in New York. What has been your impression of this filly and the progression she's made moving over to the turf course?
Back in Camella's just shortening up a little bit.
State bred company, and we thought we'd give her a try in the Miss Grillo. And see where
Oh
we're
yeah,
at.
they're just wide
At
open.
that time, I wasn't even thinking Breeders' Cup with her. I just thought, well, let's run and see how she does, and hope we win the race. And then afterwards, I realized it's a win and you're in. And you know, she had her fees paid and a trip to California.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, she's been doing very
that's
well.
kind
I
of
think,
the
you know, I think
the
she'll be
good thing
competitive.
of this, you know, this event on the booking side is there's a lot of randomness and a lot of unknowns.
Against this international cast and the
But
invaders
you know, and
coming
on
in
the
from
betting
the
side, if you
Well, we know they're good
get
horses.
lucky, the
You know,
payouts are
you know, some really,
really good, even if you're
There's down in the inside.
you know.
The one hole is the favorite, and she's undefeated and a very good horse. We'll have to move forward from our last race in order to win, but hopefully she can do it.
Well, that's what I was saying with this one. If you really like the one, then you know you just put it on top of some trifectas and stuff, and put a bunch of other horses you like. And it could pay.
She's undefeated. 3 for 3 so far.
Yeah.
Adjustment, you were there covering this race. Not the easiest of trips for her.
No, absolutely not. And we'll take a look at this Mayday Ready. She was an under 8 horse here, also in the race, totally justified as well. And she kind of had to be taken back from the get-go. She was bothered early, had to go last. And I don't know that it really hurt her chances because she's not a speed horse. She's fine with being taken last, but she didn't like to be taken a hold of because when she was going into the first turn, she was throwing her head, tossing. She just didn't look really comfortable. And sometimes that can expend a lot of energy for 2-year-olds in the first half of the race that they don't have anything left in the second half. And that wasn't the case for her.
I was remarking to you whilst Jess was challenging Frankie Dettori, you're both obviously aware that Frankie used to ride the Nemeralia, and Nemeralia was a real hold-up horse. She was one of those that needed to be settled and dropped out.
Right.
And it looks as if
Yeah, no, that
she's
would be a
taken
good idea.
The same sort of ilk from her down.
Because at least it again gives you an
And
idea
that
what the
type of
potentially what
trip
the low
we hear
ones
it
are,
a
and if you
lot,
really
though. If we don't want to take her out of her style. We know what she's good at. Is that type of trip going to win a race like this today?
I think the post hurts her chances a little bit because if
Right.
she had the rail or an inside post and she could drop back and get covered up. And you can
I ended up
stay
in
gentle
meetings
with
all day
your
today.
hand.
I've got the numbers ready. I just need time to punch them in.
But
So
with this outside post position, Frankie's going to have to either ask her a little bit or to ask her to go the opposite direction, and she might take a hold of the bit, and that plan just might go up in smoke.
I quite enjoy when jockeys have to make a decision like that.
Yeah.
Especially when they drop out
I
of
mean,
the back and
it's-
ride
it's-
for luck. It's quite an
you know,
exciting watch
with
for us.
Betfair having decent liquidity because they can offer this track. I mean, the prices are just
Christina, in terms of
way
what caught my
different
eye, the
between
number one
Betfair
Lake
and the
Victoria,
track odds.
what an
So,
outstanding filly,
you know, in
very
that first one, they
powerfully
were
built,
8-5 on track. I know it
great
closed
walk,
5-2, but it was, you know, close to
just handling
4-1.
herself like a queen in here. She's won 4 in a row, and
There
she
was just
certainly
the
knows it.
disparity
Walking
on
around
it.
with the utmost confidence. But I'm going to give you
quite
guys a
wide.
long shot to key in underneath. That's going to be the number 6 Virgin Colada. This filly caught my eye right away as well. She looks like a 3-year-old, very mature, very well developed, dappled from head to toe. And something I like about her, she's rallied into very
Yeah.
slow pace.
I mean, that's what I was. There was a few that I was looking to try and build and throw up. Like even
Definitely better.
the 13 in the first race, it was like 120 to 1 or something on Betfair. Or, you know, it was 35 on the track. I would have happily sort of laid 85s or 100s and gotten something in it. But
I think it's also important
there's,
to note
there's
with
opportunity
regard
to be able to do
Scythian
some
as
stuff.
well, both of these horses come out of the same race.
There's opportunity to be able to do just
Blew the turn and took out
sorting
3
out
other
location
horses,
and different
I think
things like that.
both of these horses kind of benefited from those circumstances.
3 to 5 on your favorite Lake Victoria. Dubs, I know you don't want any part of that short price. Who are you playing in this one?
Guys, there's 3 things I absolutely love. A cocktail, a bet, and an absolute price. And Eddie Beacon has just given us the green light endorsement. Virgin Colada, the 6 was very impressive.
That's what this is FanDuel. It's just on the Breeders' Cup side. I don't know what.
Since then, the figures really haven't shown us that there's been that step of improvement. But I do think
Oh,
we get
okay.
that early speed to run up. We're going to get a target for the one Lake Victoria.
Well, it's the same one. I mean, what I've got on MSNBC is the same thing as what's coming up on this.
Virgin Colada, the 6 at 21 to 1. Are we having fun yet? Are we playing at the FanDuel Racing app? Back to you, team.
Well,
Dubs, thank you, but let's be honest, none of those are virgins if you're out having a Virgin Colada
Yeah, I don't know
tonight.
what's up
Chad
here.
Brown has won this race 6 times. Let's see if he wins it again here with that big price. Virgin Colada. We need to talk about the 7. We've gone
Yeah.
this far without bringing up thought process. She is 5 to 1 right now. She's the second choice in the wagering. Gabby, the Euros have won this race 3 of the 16 times. Overall, I think it's a lot to ask for a 2-year-old filly to travel at this time to come this far. And so if you're leaning in the direction of the Americans, is she the way to go?
Absolutely. I'm going with a little bit of a price on top, but logically, the 7 thought process is the American to beat in here. She was very impressive last time out, and also
I'm going to start punching them in over these next few races, and then
she is a
we'll
horse
chop
that's
them up
able
as,
to shut off a
as
little
it's
bit,
done,
which is
hopefully.
important at this stage of her career. So here's a look at the pick 3 as I see it. I did include the
Yeah.
1, but also including the 7 thought process, and my top selection, the 9
Yeah,
Kilman.
that's what I was just giving you a heads up. That
In the juvenile, East Avenue, I did not single him though. I actually used the 8, Shouldn't Believe. I thought this horse's debut was very impressive, and the fact that he could win going a mile and an 8 first time out leads me to believe that maybe he can take a big step forward today. And then in the 10th and final leg of the sequence, 1, 4, 10, 11 in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. I did
All right.
go to
Oh,
Santana
yeah, give me a
Carnival
call when it
as
gets
a top
closer.
pick, but
All right.
also including Menti, the Full to Fierceness, New Century in there as well, and of course the 4 Alcadra.
That ticket available if you'd like to play a pick 3 starting right here in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf. Rishi, let's stay with the thought process conversation this second. I like the fact that she makes her own trip out there, whether she's on the lead, whether she's off the pace, and she seems to always be winning with more in reserve.
I also love the stride. I love the way she carries herself through the race. I mean, some of the surfer going around Hannah behind us. She's really sizable, but she uses her stride to such great effect. It's wonderful watching this victory and amongst others. She always seems to have a little bit more of the sleeve. Obviously, she had the first round of third, then she switched to turf. She seems like an out-and-out turf champion, potentially. I think, having observed her 3 runs on the turf, looking at her from afar, she looks to be above average for the best
Heaven's Gate some value here as O'Brien's backup. Not a bad one. 3 wins from 7 starts.
We have Aiden O'Brien, who is one of the best trainers in the world for stock. But Phil D'Amato, he has been able to create.
It might be worth a tickle. 19-1 on track. Let's see what I.
The thing about her too is she just seems like such a natural. It looks so
16.
for her out there. She bounces up the knee, she gathers her stride.
I don't think it'll go off that.
As I said, she's very tactical. You put her on the lead, you can stop the pace. She has the acceleration if you need, or end up shuffled back and need to turn it on late. I mean, I think she has all the tools to compete in here. And I'm curious just to a little bit more about Lake Victoria. Aiden O'Brien won this race with Meditate several years ago. Is Lake Victoria on paper better than Meditate was coming into that year?
Mayday ready, 30-1 on Betfair. Good ball.
She's taken the Meditate route to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf race, having won the Boyglen, running the Boyglen, then the Junior Park in here. But I don't think those 2 wins were as strong as they have been traditionally. So I think she's vulnerable.
She is. That's great.
Yeah, the one Lake Victoria there, sent out by Aiden O'Brien. Ryan Moore with the ride today does come out of those back-to-back Group 1 wins.
Fillies turf.
Next will be one of the Marquesi runners, so that's Nitrogen Jose Ortiz in the saddle. She's run in a couple of good races, including the Town Runner. She'll need to do a little bit more than what we've seen from her in her career so far.
3 Corretto is 70-1 right now for Tanner Graham Motion, where he Ruiz to ride, homebred from Calumet Farm. Did win first time out and was 3rd in the Grade 2 Miss Grillo last time out.
We spoke about Cynthia a little bit earlier on with that run in the Miss Grillo. It's going to be pointed out there were a few rivals that were taken out of their position, so just perhaps a little bit question mark about the strength of that race.
The ride totally justified, sent out by Rusty Arnold. She was part of that 3-way finish that was so impressive in the Grade 2 Jessamine last time out, lost by a move.
Well, stable with a very good record in this race is Chad Brown's Virgin Club. I think he's won the stage 6 times. And this filly ran really well to come from the behind in that race that we spoke about this Sunday.
Thought process, 5-1 is your second choice on the board right now. She's 2 for 2 at Del Mar, and she's undefeated on the turf.
Trained by Chad Brown, has won this
And the second of the 8 Brian runs way north, taking the ride. She's had a very busy year, but she looks as if she's held her form through this point. She's beaten one of her rivals, Fari Lucy, who lined up today a couple of times.
This is a live long shot right here. The number 9, Kale Wynn. She's undefeated in 2 starts, and her last race was the Untappable. I thought she overcame a lot in order to win that race. She looks like a very talented filly.
There's 10 Amiento. She won the race at Aqueduct, Grade 3 over 6 furlongs. This is a much stiffer test, so she'll have to find a great deal of improvement.
Fari Lucy, she has run against Heaven's Gate twice in the past, and she lost in both of those events to Heaven's Gate, so she'll look to turn the tables on her.
Here's Mayday ready. We spoke about her underneath. Franco Torres in the saddle, bred her down to Moravia back in the day. Whether her run style is going to be suited to this track is a question.
Partners and DJ Stable sent out the 13 Vixen, Kennemer Cassie and Johnny Velasquez to ride. She was a neck away from a Grade 1 victory, and then Chalma last time out of Woodbine.
Tina's ad showed up for David Holley and Joel Rosales in the saddle. She won a pretty good race. Testing conditions.
Just want the one to get beat. We're going to get the one beat. We're going to get the one beat.
John Deere, Breeders' Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. Gabby, I want to go back to your selection, Kilwin. Talk to us a little bit more about what you like about this daughter of Twirling Candy and her conditioning.
Well, Rusty also said that I'm totally justified, and the Sierra formulator stat that Rusty Arnold went 8 for 26, 31% in positive ROI from October 10th to October 26th. He had an outstanding team lead and totally justified. Unfortunately, wasn't one of those wins that she did lose on the wire. But Kilwin, she seems like a filly that can be anything. And I talked to Rusty about this filly. He said she is starting her career on the turf. Dirt could be in her future, considering her pedigree. She's a half to just fast. She was great one place. She ran third in the Alabama. But she did not like the turf last time out at Kentucky Downs. She was wobbling early. She was kind of losing her traction, her footing underneath of her. And despite that, she figured out a way to win. And that shows me how much talent she has. Good horses can create their own trip, can create their own luck, and also overcome adverse conditions. And I saw that with her last time out. I know her numbers are a little on the light side, but I see room for improvement.
Big price at 15 to 1 up on the board if you like Kilwin in the Juvenile Fillies Turf. What about the other maiden in here, Richie Heavensgate? What can you tell us about this daughter of Churchill?
Well, the interesting thing about her is I think she's more of the archetypical Aidan O'Brien horse that would run in a juvenile race here. Now, she wins. Keep an eye on Fiery Lucy, who is in the blue colours. On paper, Gabby's right, 2 starts against Heavensgate. Heavensgate's beaten her both times. Heavensgate gets a clean run. Fiery Lucy gets caught in a pocket. And actually, she's closing Heavensgate down to the line. There's quite a discrepancy in price between the two horses with their odds. Heavensgate is just very honest, very reliable, very willing. She settles, she travels, she's got a decent turn foot. Fiery Lucy's a little bit more requires a little bit more finesse. And I think she could be in the sort of back of the horse in the first juvenile turf race today. If she can get into a bit of trouble, she can run well, get placed at a big price. I think she's the sort of horse that can run way above her odds.
Brian was very happy with her piece of work this last week. So her last piece of work was very good. She could run a very big race. It wouldn't be the first time we've seen the higher priced horse from his yard score here at the Breeders' Cup. She's 18 to 1.
Yeah, she is really rock solid. When I spoke to Aidan earlier in the week, not only did he say that he thinks she can run a very good race, but he also said that it was Ryan's decision that Lake Victoria comes for this race. He said that after she won the Cheveley Park, Ryan came off and he immediately said, this filly should run in America. She should head to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. Whereas this horse, Heavensgate, is much more of the mold of the horse that Aidan O'Brien would run in this race. She's a little bit exposed at the very top level, but she's such a solid quality that you can't see her being out of the picture.
What would those characteristics be that Lake Victoria has that Ryan Moore would say, light bulb, this filly belongs on the world stage in America?
If only I could sit with Ryan and ask him those questions, I'd be able to get the answers. But I think it's the fact that she ran her first 3 races over 7 furlongs, and she nicely settled, runs through the line pretty hard, but she dropped back to 6 furlongs in a Group 1 race. So on the face of it, that was the first time she ever ran over that trip. So she showed versatility, and she did it pretty easily. She raced from the front, she had them all on the stretch, and she used her stamina at the end of that race. So assuming that she can overcome her little bit of a tendency to be a bit awkward at the gates, you expect her to find it easy to lay up in the early part of the race, and she'll also have the stamina. So I can see the combination of what Brian was thinking.
Gabby, you talked a little bit about the maybe just stutter steps here and there for Lake Victoria coming out of the starting gate. How do you see the first quarter mile going for her, and how far back will she be shuffled today?
I actually kind of like the rail for her. I like her drawing inside because if she does have a hiccup coming out of the gate, she can at least recover and save ground. I think maybe some people might think that the rail isn't a good spot for her, but I actually think that it is, because if she had an outside post position and she did not break sharply, then Ryan Moore would lose options with her, but at least I think she'll be able to recover. She's got a little bit of natural speed to her. So yeah, I think it depends on the gate break, but she doesn't have the speed to run with some of these other fillies in here. I would expect a mid-pack trip for her.
Rishi, do you think thought process will be on the lead, or do you think there's another that she is stopping today?
And I'm assuming that they're going to go a decent pace. I think there are enough horses in here that will go forward. So I'm hoping that thought process doesn't have to be a target for a strong stayer like a Lake Victoria Tabir. I prefer her to be closing off her race hard. So I'd like, ideally, as a fan of thought process, as she's my pick, I'd like her to be sitting sort of 3 or 4 back and not be on the speed.
Gabby, quickly, those horses that are coming out of the Talma, we have Nitrogen, we have Vixen. Between those two, did you have a preference?
And so with Nitrogen, too, when I watched that race, she was switching leads multiple times coming down the lane. So I almost think
Process
that
coming and shortening up a bit.
more learning to do, and when she can figure it out, she'll be very, very good. On the other hand, Vixen, she kind of looks more polished, but yet she still couldn't get past the winner.
Oh, boy.
One more time. So I guess at this point, I think Vixen might be the better horse, but I think there's more opportunity for the two that if she kind of figures it out, she can be very good.
And in that theme with some of the prep races, what do we do with the Miss Brillo? That horse that bolted at the front, you lost kind of the top 3. Scythian benefited, Virgin Colada benefited, Corretto benefited. I thought Scythian, the way she moves, is just beautiful. I wouldn't want the antics of horses in front of her to take away from her victory. I know she inherited that leading spot, but she still had to finish and hold off the rest of them.
She did. I took a negative approach of the race. I just did. When you're in a turf race and you save ground, I mean, she just really benefited from circumstances. And with Virginia Colada, she was taken back the last. She cut the corner, but she saved ground throughout. So I think they'll have to really step up here.
Before they reach the gate, a word on Fiery Lucy and Anshoda to give either of them a chance at a big price.
Well, Anshoda's best run came on soft ground at Goodwood when she won the Prestige Stakes, and it was really testing ground that day. So I think there's a little bit of a question mark about her, especially after she disappointed at Doncaster last time out. Fiery Lucy, I would include her in all my calculations and all my exotics. She would be a player here for me because I think that the race shape will suit her. I spoke to head trainer Gavin Cromwell. He only had a handful of runners in the Breeders' Cup before. He says that that's exactly why they're targeted this race. Fast ground, a mile, she'll hit the line hard, and she wants a little bit of trouble to help her get there.
She's a big price. 3 to 5 shortest price horse so far on Future Stars of Friday, and that is Lake Victoria from the Inside Post. There's your best American chance. Thought Process, the 7 at 9 to 2. Upstairs to Larry Colmus for the call.
All right, here we go.
Breeders' Cup,
Juveniles, Phillies turf.
Fillies lining up for the start here. Nitrogen
Get the 1 beat. Get the 1 beat. Go for stablemate. Number 8. Number 8. Number 11. Number 8. Number 11. Get the 1 beat.
Favorite Lake Victoria about to take her spot in the inside stall here.
Number 8.
3 to 5 right now on Lake Victoria.
Number 8. Number 11. 11 would be a Skinner. Number 8, number 11.
Scythian taking her spot in the starting gate. Totally Justified will be next. Avianto is in. Fiery Lucy steps up. There's Virgin Colada.
Come on, get the 1 beat. Get the 1 beat. Get the 1 beat. Get the 1 beat.
And the last 2 fillies stepping up to the starting gate. Vixen takes her spot in line, and Shoda will be the last.
All right.
14.
Oh, we're off. We're off. We're off. Come on, we're off. We're off. That's it. They're off. Oh, the 1 dig down. The 1 dig down. Get in. Jam it on the gate. Jam it. Ooh. Shuffle back a bit.
To the outside, a little bit wide into that turn, but
all right.
Process will establish the early
Whoa,
here.
the 4 went fucking nuts.
Third, Avianto is 4th. Heaven's Gate running along in 5th, 4 lengths off the lead.
All right, well, it's mid-pack.
And then comes the big favorite, Lake Victoria. Ryan Moore has her 7 lengths behind at this stage of the race. Totally Justified. Nitrogen next to their outside and Scythian.
7, 9, 8.
Day Ready is after that. Then Virgin Colada, Fiery Lucy,
it
and
comes.
Shoda is the trailer. 22.25 was that opening quarter mile as they head up the backstretch. Hector Barrios and
It's up on the rail.
the leader out there by a length and a half to Kilwin.
It's up on the rail. There's going to be some work to be done.
Lake Victoria's down on the inside. She's got
7 there. Where's the 11? Way behind.
Process to catch. Around the far
Victoria.
they go. Thought process the leader.
Here it comes, trying to get through the middle. She's got her room. Fucking hell. Come on. Come on, Fiery Lucy on the inside. Oh, fucking Christ. 112-2. Too good.
Daughter of the mighty Frankel. She is undefeated 5
Too
for 5
fucking
and now
good.
a Breeders' Cup champion, Lake Victoria.
The beauty about a horse being a champion is that it means that at some point they have to overcome adversity, and she has done that today. She wasn't best away from the start. Ryan had to ride her pretty hard to get a pretty decent position, and then she needed a little bit of luck coming off the turn. But her attitude and the way she picked up in the closing stages, those are the definitions of being a champion.
Let's pick up the replay here. We have a couple different angles to show you, and look how proud she is of herself too. Finishing full of it today. Lake Victoria over Mayday Ready, Nitrogen, and Fiery Lucy. So here she is on the right, getting that cover that you would want. Rishi, she did end up shuffled back a little bit, but still a comfortable trip, I think, from off that pace.
Yeah, it was a comfortable trip once she settled into a position. The first part of the race was quite hard. But the beauty about her is...
Oh, boy.
As soon as Ryan Moore was squeezing her and asking her to do things, take the gap, take the position, switch leads in the straight, and level off. And her response from here to the line is hugely impressive. And it encourages you to think what she's going to be able to do next year, having won 3 Group 1s this season and made huge progress in a relatively short space of time.
I mean, in reality, I know he did have to ask her a little bit early, but this is the perfect trip that you won here at Del Mar. You're able to save ground throughout, and then at the top of the stretch, it was like this door opened, and he could easily guide her to the outside of horses, and then she was able to show that devastating turn of foot that we've seen before, and Lake Victoria is certainly impressive. One of these days, we have to talk to Ryan Moore and pick his brain in terms of the qualities of a horse that is suitable to the U.S. because he was spot on with Lake Victoria.
She blew right on by thought process today. Thought process on the lead. I mean, the fractions were pretty quick, but she did establish that position, I think, by design. They sent her out. Nobody else was really quick enough to clear into that first quarter. So
Quiet day. It's a quiet day.
On the lead, in all honesty, I would like a horse like Thought Process to have had a target to aim at straight as opposed to being the target. Frank Victoria's horse, Mayday Ready, has run huge.
Yeah,
she has run huge.
Yeah, this is a horse of a lifetime, though, for Joe Lee. Joseph Lee, the trainer of the 12 Mayday Ready. She has been an overachiever, and the fact that she could finish second in the Juvenile Fillies Turf, I would say they are very proud of her with this effort.
And a special one for Frankie, having ridden her dam as well.
Absolutely. He rode her down for Joe Minnesota back in the day. And of course, Joe Minnesota has had his Breeders' Cup winners in the past, the likes of Wilco, etc.
So Lake Victoria just too good for Coolmore, the daughter of Frankel, a perfect 5 for 5 here. Aidan O'Brien on the board in the Juvenile Fillies Mayday Ready. Flying finish to be second under Frankie Dettori for Joe Lee. Nitrogen at a big price for Mark Cassie and Jose Ortiz. I think she was the one that dove to the inside for that spot.
Yeah, Fiery Lucy has run on very strongly. And again, the contours of this track, the speed of the race, and the ground really suited her today. She's beaten Heaven's Gate, who we spoke of beforehand, having beaten her in their 2 previous runs. Her trainer, Gavin Cromwell, was spot on, just like Ryan Moore was, that this race would suit that filly.
Well, the ladies did not disappoint. The favorites connecting here, Immersive and Lake Victoria in the Juvenile and the Juvenile Fillies Turf. Still to come, the Colts and Geldings have their opportunity as the Juvenile is up next.
FanDuel is proud to be the official wagering partner of the Breeders' Cup and sponsor of the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Juvenile presented by the TAA. Watch racing year-round on FanDuel TV and wager on all the races with FanDuel Racing. Make every moment more with FanDuel. For the second year in a row, Yamaba Resort and Casino at San Manuel was voted Best Casino Outside Vegas in the USA Today 10 Best Readers' Choice Awards. For more information about the casino, resort, or spa, visit yamaba.com. Make
Maker's Mark wishes you luck today and invites you to try a Del Mar Daisy made with Maker's Mark bourbon and visit Plaza de Mexico to learn about the Maker's Mark Breeders' Cup private selection. At Maker's Mark, we make our bourbon carefully. Please enjoy it that way.
On to the next one. Okay, we've got the juvenile. The prep for next year's Kentucky Derby. Let's see if the favorite here. I don't find anything like I did last year with Fierceness.
Now, entering the winner circle is the official winner of today's John Deere Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, number 1, Lake Victoria. The 2-year-old Bay Filly by Frankel from Quiet Reflection. By Showcasing. Lake Victoria was bred in Ireland by and is owned by Michael Tabor, Derek Smith, and Mrs. John Magnier. The winning trainer is Aidan O'Brien. Ryan Moore's the winning jockey. Oh, God. All right. Okay, interesting. All right, just coming up on the 2 hours. Well, let's set the prices on this one and see what happens. Look here. Let's see what the fair's got. Looks pretty much the same. Ferocious, 10-12. Jonathan's Way, 8-5, 7-5. Citizen Bull.
They got 8-1. Tracks 4s. 35 and 72 the turn. Oh, frighty.
Well, we knew this was a pretty special 2-year-old filly, but she's had to extricate herself from a spot of bother today. Lake Victoria has won the John Deere Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turn. Delighted to be joined by Austin Till, who is the Director of Equine Sales and Marketing for John Deere, and alongside him, Tom Rooney, great supporter of the sport of horse racing, of course, as President and Chief Executive of the NTRA. And Tom, I'm going to ask you to present with Austin the beautiful trophy on behalf of the Coolmore partners to Michael Tabor, Derek Smith, and MV Magna.
On behalf of John Deere and the John Deere Equine Discount Programs, congratulations.
Michael Tabor, you just leaned across to Ryan Moore and you said, the calm before the storm. Exactly. Just explain exactly what might be to come for you.
Well, tomorrow, as you know, is a big day, but let's celebrate this and worry about tomorrow later, I think.
Tell me a little bit about how you felt when Aidan O'Brien said to you he wanted to bring a European champion 2-year-old filly elect to the Breeders' Cup. This is the best 2-year-old filly he's brought to this fixture.
I mean, obviously, I think we're all delighted, thought about it, and obviously gave him the go-ahead. And, you know, we've been here a couple of times, and this horse, always said, is very special. But as we know, when you play away from home, and I've said it before, on a different surface, it's not easy. So we've got everything to gain, nothing to lose.
Ryan described the race beautifully to the brothers a few moments ago. Derek, Ryan may not have had too many concerns. How were you feeling?
Well, I said that Ryan didn't panic, but we sure did. I mean, if it's the class ride from a class jockey.
Class ride from a class jockey, Lake Victoria, all class here in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. But as Michael said, so much more possibly to come. Ready?
You just have to get in the seat of a John Deere 1 Series tractor. Not because of how easy it is to use, or because of our expert dealers. Not even because it has implements for every job. You just have to get in the seat because breaking ground on your dream home feels John Deere.
All right, so 25 minutes to the race.
Breeders' Cup World Championships.
There's never been a better time to download the FanDuel Racing app. Sign up is quick and easy, so come join the fun. Personalize your very own race page with new and exciting handicapping tools and insights, and watch your favorite races live from over 300 tracks worldwide, including FanDuel TV right on your phone. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $500. If your first bet doesn't win, don't sweat it. Get up to $500 back as a racing bonus. Download the FanDuel Racing app now.
The highest honor in any sport is to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Those who
Horses in the check back, and there's no pressure from the outside. This is totally pilot error by Van Franco, who's better than that. But the hotter the plane gets, the cooler the line gets, and he didn't match.
He might feel pretty good at final for time. Probably wasn't feeling too good right back. Shut off my man. Because he's much further back than he wanted to be.
And there's Mayday Ready, the second place finisher. So you know how fast they're going up front here. Blake Victoria's back here. The second place finisher, Mayday Ready, is back here. And Ryan's just right at time as they go down the backside, picking him up a little at a time.
Making 2 wins in a row. Overall for trainer Todd Fletcher. In the 2021 race.
That's thought process.
According to HBA trainer Bob Ballard, all record tying
and the best chance to beat them. But she's said an extremely fast pace. And it was nothing but for her direction. And probably she was going to be able to come up.
And I have to tell you, this is unbelievable. It doesn't happen very often that a horse can have that much trouble and have that much left in the very
We are only 23 minutes
As
away
a
from the
two-year-old
Vandal
as well.
Juvenile
There's a
Fed
lot of
by
maturity Lake
Thoroughbred
Victoria
African
has.
Airlines.
What's more to come?
Joyce
We'll look
Alcea
forward
with
to
Gabby
that.
Godet and Simon Bray.
Cheers to the
One
breeder
of the biggest
rating.
names we can talk about all week long and really since that racing team has been East Avenue.
As Coolmore
Beasley appears he makes
also bred by
racing and in the flesh.
Yes, he is a beautiful, beautiful looking animal. I had the opportunity to lay my eyes on him for the first time last time out in the Grade 1 Breeders' Return. This looks like a classic type of animal even at this point in time in his career. So no issue getting a distance of ground, but I guess the rail post position does make things a little bit more interesting for today.
Makes it a little more interesting, but one is better than 10, I think, going down to the inside. But physically, he looks like a man amongst boys. He comes out of the Breeders' Futurity. We saw what Keeneland did in their prep races with the Alcibiades when they're coming back and winning the Phillies equivalent. Maybe the Colts can do to him at East Avenue.
I would be shocked if Andy Bianco did not make East Avenue the pick of the paddock, but that's why they run the race, and that's why we see her face to tell us who looks best as they get ready for the juvenile. Andy?
Michael Joyce, this is one of the deepest juvenile fields I've ever seen. A really contentious group overall. But my eye goes to the number 1 East Avenue. This is a horse who I got to watch break his maiden at Ellis Park, win the Breeders' Futurity last time out, and he's a versatile horse. I know the rail is a concern for her, but he has the speed to manage that inside post. He's very tenacious. He's just one of those horses who you could throw anything at him, and he really just takes everything in stride. He's walking around here like he could with a commanding presence, like he owns the paddock, and the crowd isn't bothering him at all. He loves the crowd, even as good horses are like that. So I certainly think this is a star in the making. He's going to be my top selection. But the horse that key in underneath that 10-1 is the number 4 Ferocious. Ferocious was second to East Avenue last time out in the Breeders' Futurity, but that horse was very keyed up in the paddock that day. I remember he was washed out. He was very difficult to saddle. He had some trouble in the starting gate as well, just moments prior to Breeders' Futurity. But I have to say today, he's handling himself like a champ. He's loving the crowd. He's not washed out at all. And it looks like he's filled in a bit since the last time I've seen him.
Neil and Sue.
Crimson East Avenue's Breeders' Cup Juvenile. They use a very impressive performance in Grade 1 Cleveland Breeders' Futurity. What's impressed you most about what he has done in such a short amount of time?
He's like he acts like an older horse. Tons of class.
You experience her emotion.
Just like a Korean show on Netflix, where people play kids games for money, and it is me to die. And the great part, eyes roll back, and she says, rising up, she's
To his outside.
No, I mean,
you're not a stalker, why are you on the box? So good.
Better watch. So good.
let's see where we land and left.
How much confidence you have in this goal?
It's a championship race, so it's a very tough race to win. So, thanks.
I'm now joined by Mike Welch with the Daily Racing Form as we get set for the Vandal Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Mike, looking forward here at East Avenue. He's the 9-5 favorite. What sort of impression has this horse made on you in his training here at Juvenile?
It's a super impression. Every morning, it's just a pleasure to watch. He seems to come out of the class race in tip-top condition. Watching these horses train, I think it's important watching these horses train. He's definitely caught my eye on a regular basis. That's I want to see this field, and it's a super field, so don't get me wrong. A lot of them are looking in tip-top shape, but he's the best of me.
Who do you think is the biggest threat to the favorite Gavin?
Well, it's wide open. There's so many terrific horses here. I like Ferocious a little bit. In their first meeting, they had the word home, and kind of compromise coming out of there. And get the best of trends. Now that scenario is reversed. And
in
East
this
Avenue would have
juvenile
to come off the
name
out of the
big
rail.
and Jonathan
And if
Sway,
Ferocious can get a
the
little bit
next
better
choice
set up
for
early on,
the
I think he might have the best upset chance.
This race also starts a special double, the FanDuel Juvenile to the Breeders' Cup Classic. For those that are going to be playing that wager right now, what are your general thoughts on the Breeders' Cup Classic this year?
I love it. I've seen it from Japanese horses. I mean, it's hard for me to separate them, but I think all three are coming up to the racing race. I love his last work here. I know his form is great coming into the race. He's kind of tailed off since the race here last year, but he seems to be peaking at the right time now. And Usman Tesoro was one of the stars at Santa Anita leading up to the classic workout-wise. I haven't done as much here, but he sure looks terrific. Last Breeze was an easy breeze with a huge finish. I think he's coming up to the race in great fashion. He's going to be a lot better price than 3-1 as last year on Saturday.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Have a great Breeders' Cup this year. Thank you.
He always looked like a winner.
A lot to take in there with all those interviews. First of all, don't forget about that juvenile classic. David Heller, you can play. I want to get back to a point, though. We were talking about Ferocious and his meat. What did you notice about it?
It's something to pay attention to because Andy brought this up. This horse was very keyed up in the paddock last time out. And then after he loaded into the starting gate, he actually reared up and the rider came out of the gate. They had to take him back out of the gate and reload him. It was abnormal behavior for him last time out. It probably contributed to his overall performance, but it's definitely something to pay attention to today where there's a lot going on.
I'm watching him here, Mike, as you were talking to Gabby. He's gone around a couple of times and he looks fine in the paddock right now, but obviously we'll keep an eye on him as he gets closer to post. There he is, right behind us.
We don't even have to leave the shot.
One of my colleagues, full confidence.
Plus they're solid. The big challenge here for
And I love it when I see my Kentucky people in the Del Mar paddock. Phil Bauer sends out the number 7, Jonathan Sway, a grade 3 Iroquois winner, a D-wire effort. How do you think his one-turn form translates to this two-turn run around here?
You know, they can
Churchill Downs in Kentucky Derby next year. That's
towards the front end of the pace.
And Appleton and Saratoga, it's 75 yards longer. There you go.
That he breaks start like he did there.
Today at Del Mar, just not
Is he the kind of horse that will settle outside of horses or handle pressure if other horses are on the outside of him?
I think he's a horse that I think he has concerns. He's a very smart horse.
That
has
is
a lot of
his
gears. So,
and chance for the
it's going to be interesting how it develops.
field. As
Joel's
future
one of the
stars
best, so
Friday
we'll
rolls
leave it up to
on
him as they
from
leave the
beautiful
gate.
Del Mar,
I
the
think in the
hula
back row
hoops are
mounts, he
out.
would have won a great sharp and just at least had some position going in the first turn.
Phil, you guys are easy
Nice
to
to
report.
meet
Thank
you.
you so much. Best of luck.
I've been a
Back
pharmacist
to you
for
guys.
44 years. When I have
We're gonna watch
customers
that
come in
Iroquois right
and
now,
ask for something for memory, I recommend Prevagen. Number one, because
Once
it's
you're mile
effective,
Churchill, so
does
2
not
turns
require
will be
prescription,
new to him.
and
But
I've been
when you
taking it
handle the
for
stretch
around
out
myself,
from 6
and
for
I
1
know it works.
His
And I love
first
it
two
when
races,
customers
his
come
only
back
two
in
races
and
have
tell me,
been so
David,
different.
that
Last
really
time
works so
out,
good
he
for me.
was so
Makes
sharp
my
out of
day.
the gate, and nobody else could run with him. This horse is very fast, but I think it was the gate break that made the difference for him. He found himself on the lead out of the gate, and then nobody could catch him. But Simon, first time out, he didn't get out of the gate well. He was about 5, 6 wide around the turn. So that shows me that he can overcome adversity if it's thrown at him.
Yeah, I think this is these two running rides are something you see it's quite common with first and second time starters. You see a horse that's slow out of the gate on debut. He was pitched at the break. He wasn't sharp out there as his debut. Start number 2, they know what's going on. The race is a little longer. The pace is going to be a little slower by default. They're probably going to be laying a lower price. And that's what Phil Bauer just referenced in this interview. Now they go in a mile 60 throughout 2 turns. And he says, again, by default, they're going to be closer to the lead today because they are going a mile 16. So I think that's just, a horse that's improving and have learning things that they're going along. But yes, absolutely versatility.
East Avenue, however, does sit as your favorite as things stand right now, 8 to 5, and it will be the favorite when they go into the gate. And we've got a little race fence from Christina on East Avenue. Osprey Medallion d'Or winning 38% in their second dirt route at the stakes level. Jockey trainer combo, 20% stakes races, Tyler Gaffney and Brendan Walsh. Both of those things really think bode well for the chance. But I want to ask you something about what Mike Welsh said about the switch of the post. East Avenue is in the middle of the field at post 5. Whereas Ferocious was caught along the inside with that rail drop in 2 of his 3 starts. Last time out, he thinks that rail drop compromised Ferocious. Now rail drops outside. How much do you think that's going to play in the compromise against Davenport?
Yeah, I think, look, it's a challenge. There's no question about it. I think the inside post is a challenge. It's a good thing. It's better than the outside post. And here's the way I view it. East Avenue has been on the lead. I don't think he's a need the lead type. He's just faster than his competition. He's found himself there because he's much superior. And the way I see this, we saw what happened in the juvenile series. One of Baffert's horses is going to go, and I think it's Getaway. If East Avenue is not fast enough to make the lead, let the 2 go, and then you can sit in second or third. Because the next horse that's parked here outside is a horse coming out of Europe. He probably won't have Durham gate speed. So I think if you don't bring extremely sharp in that first jump, let the 2 go, get a position, and then just sit outside of the 2.
He's found out that he's been the best in his race.
Jonathan's Way, Ahmed, is owned by just under in 2013.
We have
Extraordinary that comes such a long way to space of time, even more so. Not only does he own
we do
John
have
Way,
Australia represented by
he also
Tubbsy in the FanDuel
is
TV studios. Tubbsy, what do you got?
Today, Chancellor
I
McPatrick.
am customers. I've got my racing against no split versus up to $500 per stage. Racing quality for all customers. No split with men up to $20 way long. Juvenile coming up here. Going towards big one in the classic race up right on Saturday. If you're looking for a special multi-race wage up, a special daily double, the Juvenile coming up into the classic tomorrow. So so many different ways to jump and play. And the fan racing app. We take a look at the market with the clear standout. Southland really started to firm up. Now sitting at 95. Price for me is going to be the source of Jonathan's Way continue to drift out. It's just a highlight. We've got 3 Bob Baffert runners. None of them are favourites. I think this one is wide open. It's got Price Johnson's Way, the number 5 for me, guys.
That he feels like he should be riding high on life. One of those incredible stories that we hear at the Breeders' Cup from time to time. On the track, off the track, personal connections here. Certainly a personal connection between the trainer and the
Breeders' Cup
there.
Juvenile presented by CAA. Let's take a look at the field starting with the 8-5 favorite. Oh, so gorgeous.
Championship races here.
He absolutely is. The son of Medallia d'Oro. He is undefeated, and both of his starts he stretched out to the mile and a 16th last time out successfully, winning the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup.
Absolute specimen right there. I mean, he really stands out as one. So his getaway car, first to the Baffert runners here, which is probably going to be forwardly placed, I would think.
Our PNC Bank
Inside,
post
actually, we're looking at
for
the
the
3
juvenile
Hill
tournament,
Road,
the one
Adrian
he's
Murray,
now
the AMA
two
race
of his
itself.
careers we mentioned.
It's
Winning those races by
but yes, 3 Hill
Team
Road
Lane,
there.
they have half just
On your
Cody's
screen,
last
80 to 1
year.
number
Getaway
Risk
car,
Elite
by Bob
Award.
Baffert, won this
Following
race 5 times, tied for the most all
him,
time.
received the number 4 Ferocious.
The fair quarter is overrated, don't you worry about it.
For
Road gets a large price.
jockey
Now let's get to the
on
next
the
one.
getaway car. That
Here's a look at the
is
2-horse getaway car, as you were saying, Simon. We're just going to breeze right by him and get to Ferocious now. Delgado and Javier Castellano here next.
He ran second in the Breeders' Returning last time out against East Avenue, but had some gate issues prior to that.
Looks good. He's on his toes, but in a good way. Jonathan's Way makes a nice appearance. Look at this horse, true professional. Hard to believe he's a young horse, only making his 3rd start, acting like an older horse.
He does look like an old pro on the track. The 6th Citizen Bull, sent out by Bob Baffert, Martin Garcia will ride. He's a winner of the Grade 1 American Pharoah last time out, but he did it in front running fashion.
Bob Baffert is not the betting favorite in this race, but he's, I think, his best chance gaming. 2 sprints, stretching out. By his side that won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, out of a man who was by his side that won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Shouldn't believe the crazy price at 30 to 1. I thought his debut, his only race, was very impressive. And his big break was sharp, which obviously is very important for North American racing.
Big long short hit 1991 with Ikoro as well. Hideyuki Mori, who brings this runner in from Japan, and then the 10 chunks with Patrick Gabby on the outside for Chad Brown.
Yeah, he is one that wants a fast pace to materialize in front of him. He's a little bit slow to get going, but once he turns it on, he's been very impressive.
9 minutes away from the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Juvenile. We are taking another look at Citizen Bull. This is the local home for the
California runners pop out for trades this cool too. Is pretty impressive when he won the American Fair. I think people are questioning how tough the American Fair was compared to some of these other races coming into the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. So Jamie beat him in the Del Mar Futurity. He came back and he beat Getaway Card last time out. But here is a quote from Bob Baffert saying, "Give the knee the lead tight."
Not mincing words at all.
Love it. So we know what he's going to do. He's going to the lead today.
So it's Getaway Card. That's the problem. It's just gaming with 7 horses on screen right now.
I take care of the bike curve.
We have a good snacks there. I know it's won't be a problem at all. That is the biggest question.
I think he's wanting to do that. I think anything he's done up to this point is a bonus. I think he's going to get better as they go longer. So I'm looking at some of the unique times that the Sire and the Dam Sire both winning this race. I mean, underscores how the distance is not going to be a problem.
Not taking anything away from that win last time out, but it did feature a fast pace. He got a good setup, but he really had to grit in order to win the race. He does bring everything that's going to improve the business. Over the last 11 months, trainer Bob Baffert went 8 for 11. You can see that stat provided by Era Formula.
I saw him in his debut at Saratoga. I was there that day. He had a poor break. He made several runs during the race. Then he came back at Churchill and Gates Wire in the air point. But he is a horse that can break.
They don't
Now,
go
he's
from
very
running a
important
50
today.
buyer to an 90 buyer. You know, they debut as an 81, and then they run an 89, and then they run a 91. And then they work their way up the ladder incrementally. He's very good at managing it. And you can see how well that works going from one turn to 2. That's show.
Yeah, I mean, especially after Del Mar Futurity, he's beating Citizen Bull with Stablemate. What did he do? He came back and won the American Fair. What Baffert does is try and test it, and he did it. Just the horse breaks on the lead on debut, he wins Gates Wire. Bob likes to teach his horses to break pretty quickly after that debut win. That horse was taken back by design in the Del Mar Futurity with the goal of a race like this, the goal of a 3-year-old campaign, and not being a speed crazy horse where they can sit, relax, and finish. That was all by design that he was taken off the pace in that last race.
On the social media platform known as X, we put out a poll to see who you, the viewer, prefer. You're not surprisingly East Avenue leading the poll with 37.2% of the votes.
Him on the track. He is just so professional. You don't see that with 2-year-olds at this stage. And he's only had 2 races, and he just looks so eager to run, to do his job. He really just checks all the boxes, so to speak, and the betting public as well as the social public you've grown a following in this success.
And the chance of McPatrick has raced one more time at the 121 race. And his owners are standing by right now.
Without a Sean Flanagan, they have 10 horses here in the chance of Patrick, the horse that is undefeated. He's a perfect 3 for 3. How have you assessed his victory so far in his short career?
Yeah, well, they've been a repeat one after another. He just circles the field, circled every horse that he's competed against. I don't know if he'll be able to do that today against these guys. Tough field, best horses in the world, and you know what? We have the best rider in the world. I really believe that. I think he's going to work on a nice trip. Flanagan knows this race course very well.
Seeing him on a skyrocket is a success.
Really
stamping,
so between the best rider in the world and the talent that your horse has, that's how you overcome those 10 here today. Yeah, pretty much. And best trainer in the world, in my opinion. And so it's just been a fantastic ride since July 27th, which was my anniversary. Yeah, I wasn't there that day. I was sick with COVID. But you guys just did a great ride. And it looks fantastic, so fit.
Hi, I'm Greg.
Yeah, we're expecting good things today.
Wish you all the best. Good luck in here.
Just a regular person. Some people say, why should I take Privigen? I don't have a problem with my memory.
I mean, this is a horse of
Memory
all
loss
the other chance
is
for
not
Patrick
something
in
that
the Breeders'
occurs
Cup. You're like,
overnight.
oh, second
I
place.
started
In
those
the
so
juvenile
last
fans, we kind of take
year.
Grant. Well, we'll see.
I want people to know
horse like
that
this.
Privigen has
Best
worked
horse
for
you've
me.
ever owned, most
It's at
likely.
my
To
memory.
be on a
It's
ride
at the
with the horse
cognitive
taking the other
qualities.
side. And the sky's
Really
really
fun.
I mean, he's
I want to help you
he's
just
in the hands of a master.
Privigen.
Best
That's
rider.
the worst ever.
Yeah, with that post, Gabby, I mean, just come out and make a left-hand turn if you're not going to show any speed.
Yeah, absolutely. In dirt racing, I actually think in some ways you could argue that this horse has accomplished more because in North American dirt racing, you want to be fourth place. And the fact that he is undefeated with his running style is quite tremendous.
At the time, they're really racing, owning Jonathan's Way. They bred the 4 Chance of Patrick.
I know.
Right.
So they have a chance to celebrate owning a horse in Jonathan's Way and celebrate breeding a horse in the 10th.
The Breeders' Cup.
Bred by Gentry Stable LLC for Roche. Part of a conversation we had earlier. Keeping an eye on how he was keeping it together mentally. What can we see from this angle?
Totally different horse today. I will say that. Just judging by how he was in the paddock last time out at Keeneland, he's on his toes. He's a horse that does have a lot of energy. But that day he was very washy. You can see the ladder behind his back legs. To me, he seems like this is more channeled energy. And I mean, it all comes down to how he enters the gate if he stands well. But so far, so good.
Let's go through our esteemed team of talent, see how they see this race. Todd, the lone contrarian, going with Jonathan's Way. Everybody getting on the East Avenue train. I don't think it matters. I just think he's that good. If there was a blank check mark, he would be on the one as well. I just think he's that good. I think we're going to see much the same thing that we saw from Lake Victoria in the most recent race.
And the thing about what makes him good, I think, when you look at the qualities of a really nice horse, it's number one, his mannerisms, right? He's acting very professionally on the track. He's kind of wise beyond his years of experience. But also the fluid stride in which he has. That is why I don't think he necessarily needs the lead. I think he's just been fast, he's been dominant, and the way he runs his race assignment, he just seems like a very good horse.
Yeah, it's very hard. You can't label horses one-dimensional speed horses.
All right, back. Some education lessons in the bullpen.
And they do it. He's got all the attributes, physical attributes, and most importantly, his mental attributes.
Gaming, so just taking a look at it right there on the track. As you can see, the silks of Pepper, Watson, and Whiteman. Bob Baffer, longtime owners. We're talking about an undefeated horse for Bob Baffer with Rat Ortiz and some of the most famous silks that Baffer's ever trained for in a race that he's won so many times. And you're getting one.
It's a great price on any Bob Baffer runner. Rat Ortiz Jr. will ride. I'm just looking at the 3 home roads. We're getting a little bit beat up on the track. So before we approach the starting gate, I just wanted to mention the Ancient Believe. This is kind of a horse, a big price that I want to use in the exacta because it is hard to win first time out. It's even harder to win first time out on a mile and an 8. And that's what this horse did. He is a laid-back horse, as most Japanese horses are. They have a lot of experience outside the stall, Simon. But his deep break was really sharp, and he looked like he was just figuring it out. Every time the rider would ask him, he let out another notch. I like him at 30-1. Not to say he'll win, but exactly.
Great price. He's by Constitution. That'd be a great sign.
He paid $800,000.
Yeah, BS Marsh, yeah. And here's the starting gate for the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Juvenile presented by the TAA. Right now, we go to the voice of the Breeders' Cup, Larry Thomas.
Reach the starting gate. It's post time for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
All right. Winner of this usually becomes the favorite for the Derby, so let's see what happens.
Champion to be decided here as East Avenue is the first one to go into the gate. Citizen Bowl goes in. Here's Getaway Car. Gaming. Hill Road. Shin Believe, one of the 2 Japanese runners in the gate. Ferocious about to come forward. Ferocious going in.
All right, so not a lot of interest in this after that last race. I'm kind of a little bit beaten up, but let me see here. Go on the 1. A couple of good results.
They're all in line. We're ready for the start.
Go for the, and they're off. Oh, the 2 just ducked straight out. The 1 just missed it by a middle.
It is Citizen Bowl that goes out to the early lead. getaway car and gaming a race
East
there,
Avenue
too. So the
just
Bob
took
Baffert
it.
horses, 1, 2, 3 into the turn. Jonathan's Way and Ferocious are next. Then a Cora Wazell. A break of another 2.5 lengths more to Chancer McPatrick, who's ahead. California, and the rest, as they say.
All right,
is
I'm back.
history as he takes home the FanDuel
Forgot to plug in the laptop, then it died. Switching between chargers here, so we're back. It was An underdog one, but
Post time at 5:25.
yeah, interesting. Hill Road. Would have never had Citizen Bull. Could have had gaming, but nothing. Nothing at all there. $14,000 claimer. Pretty pretty good thing for the owners picking that up. That's what I'd like. Let me pick up a $14,000 claimer that can go win a Breeders' Cup race.
Now, entering the winner circle is the official winner of today's FanDuel Breeders' Cup Juvenile presented by
All right, on to the last for today.
Citizen Bull. He is a 2-year-old vehicled by Into Mischief from Don't Joke by Distorted Humor. Bred in Kentucky by Robert and Luana Lowe. Winning owners are SF Racing, Starlight Racing, Mannequin Stables, et al. Winning trainer is Bob Baffert. The winning jockey, Martin Garcia.
Matchups. Hill Road. 2. Getaway
FanDuel is proud to be the official wagering partner of the Breeders' Cup and the sponsor of the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Mile, presented by the PDJF. Watch racing year-round on FanDuel TV and wager on all the races with FanDuel Racing. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Jackson Family Wines wishes each of you a great day at the races. Enjoy a glass of Kendall Jackson, La Crema, or any of the award-winning wines from Jackson Family Wines while you cheer on the winners. Please drink responsibly. Side by side, and they're 7 lengths behind Citizen Bull. Hill Road is the trailer. 27.89 was an easy half mile. And now the field races for the far turn, where it is still Citizen Bull and Gaming. The Bob Baffert horses 1-2. Akora Wazelle, Shit Believe is moved up on the outside. Getaway cars in the rail, and the others have plenty of work to do as they come to the top of the stretch. Citizen Bull and Gaming, and they turn for home together. The stablemates 1-2, they're into the stretch. Citizen Bull in front, trying to take them all the way, and he kicks away. Citizen Bull by 2. Gaming is all out second. Getaway car third. Baffert 1, 2, 3 as they come to the finish. It is going to be Citizen Bull and Martin Garcia to win. Gaming was second. Hill Road came late. Grabbed third from Getaway car in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
All right. On to the next one.
On behalf of everyone at FanDuel, proudly in partnership with our friends at the TAA, congratulations for this win. We are thrilled to pass this along to you and everyone who's had a hand in bringing Citizen Bull to this great victory.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
A very big congratulations to you. This race changed pretty much from the moment the gates opened. What was going through your mind as this race unfolded?
I just was looking at the fractions, right? I was looking to see we weren't going 22-44. Martin did an unbelievable job, right? He got to the lead, which is the game plan, and he was able to settle it down. And once we saw the fractions after the first 2 quarters, we knew we had a chance. And the horse ran great. Great job by Bob. Great job by Martin, the team. It's a great group of owners. Super fun. Just happy to be here.
I can see that here with the big group of owners in the winner's circle. Is it too early to get you excited about the Kentucky Derby? You've been there before.
It is never too early to get excited about the Kentucky Derby. Our boy Bob is back in the house for the Kentucky Derby, and we're excited about that. We got some points. We're getting ready. We got a good crew. We're going to come, and hopefully we'll bring this horse and maybe some more.
And how do the Avengers celebrate a Breeders' Cup victory?
You're going to have to wait and see.
Oh, wow. Wait and see. All right, Ahmed. Back to you.
There has never been a better time to download the FanDuel Racing app. What are you waiting for? Sign up is quick and easy. There are 0 deposit fees, and withdrawals come super fast. Easily track your wagers, rapidly build new tickets, and quickly view potential payouts with FanDuel's My Bets experience. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $500. If your first bet doesn't win, don't sweat it. Get up to $500 back as a racing bonus. Download now.
Elegance is an attitude.
I'm a writer. You are surrounded by people who are all younger. I had to get help somewhere along the line to stay competitive. I discovered Prevagen. I started taking it, and after a period of time, my memory, it was a game changer for me. Prevagen. It's everywhere without a prescription.
They come on for the finish in the Pilgrim Stakes. Annapolis by a head.
It is Annapolis in front. It is Annapolis to win the Jewel Award Turf Mile.
Unquestionable won the most recent renewal of the $1 million Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, setting up trainer A.D. O'Brien and jockey Ryan Moore for a chance at 3 in a row this year. They started their streak at Keeneland with Victoria Road rallied to prevail in a head-bobbing finish in 2022. Moore has ridden all 6 of O'Brien's winners in this race, including one here at Del Mar aboard Mendelssohn in 2017. This is the Breeders' Cup.
All right, so at the top,
It's amazing we're already at the final race of Future Stars Friday.
4 and the 5.
Gabby Gaudet and my good friend Richie
13.
Prasad. The Juvenile
Looking good
Turf.
right now.
Chad Brown's had a great run in this race. The Euros haven't been too bad either, though.
No, Chad Brown, Charlie Appleby, and Aidan O'Brien. If you're looking outside those 3 trainers, then you're going to struggle to find the winner of the Juvenile Turf. I think Charlie Appleby's got a very strong hand here with 2 horses, an Al Qudra and a Amori City, who both have legitimate claims. William Buick has chosen to ride Amori City. James Doyle gets the run in Al Qudra, but Amori City has got the worst of the draw.
So we make a lot about that in the U.S., who the jockey picked, but oftentimes here it's the agent making deals about this horse, that, who had first call, etc. Is it the same thing for the Appleby barn? That they've got their number 1 guy and they got their number 2?
Yeah, basically, William Buick gets the choice of which horse he wants to ride. James Doyle then will pick up the spare. Not always, because obviously James Doyle now rides for Wattman Racing as well. But James remains firmly in their plans. So in this particular instance, William Buick decided he wanted to go with the Amori City. Based, from what I understand, speaking to Charlie Appleby earlier in the week, the run in the national stakes in Ireland seemed to encourage them that he was the right horse to bring to this race. And when Charlie Appleby says something like that, you have to take it on board, and that's why William Buick has chosen that horse over Alcudra, who's got very strong claims of his own.
Well, Gabby will be the judge of that. Did William Buick make the right choice here, or do you think Alcudra might be the better of the two?
I mean, I think maybe he would have changed his mind after the post position draw. Is that fair to say? I think these two horses are very good, but it all comes down to the post position. And here is Alcudra last time out in the Grade 1 summer up at Woodbine. This was a bit of a tough trip for some horses, and Dream On being one of them. Alcudra going very wide in this event. You can see the three of these horses kind of playing bumper cars in deep stretch.
I think Alcudra was quite unlucky because he was just about to deliver his run at the same time as New Century, and then obviously when the horse drifted over, it cost him maybe a length or two as he just tried to organise himself. The race prior to the Woodbine contest, Alcudra actually travelled kindly out in front, settled nicely, and just showed a bit more speed. And I think this track, and you two will know more about it, offers more of a speed test than Woodbine. So I thought that also led to Alcudra maybe overturning that form of New Century.
So New Century, once again, the winner of that Summer Stakes, which you just saw, and also the subject of Christina's race lens angle here as we take a look at this prospect, a 2-year-old colt by Kamiko, coming in from the Andrew Baldwin barn. This horse was very good overseas, but is even better on this side of the pond. In New Century, sire was a Group 1 winning Turf Miler. That bodes well. Holds the field's fastest late pace figure. You want to be closing hard at one of these races. And rider just named champion jockey in England for 2024. There's someone knocking at the door over there, Rishi.
It's a 9. Yeah, it does sound like the 9, but we can get back to that.
That was the Waco Kid, I believe. It was giving a little kick, making sure that those wooden stall boards are well in place.
Just nailing them in a little bit harder. Rishi, with the Grade 1 Summer Stakes last time out, did you think that New Century almost kind of benefited from the circumstances a little bit, or do you think he was really up against it?
I think New Century benefited from the fact that he had clear sailing and never once did he have to check his stride in the straight. I think he enjoyed the more demanding mile test than than Alcudra did, and I think a speedier test here today will suit Alcudra more than it will New Century.
There's a look at the Waco Kid, who's a little bit rambunctious there as he was giving a good old knock to the stalwart. Is that anything to be concerned about?
Certainly. I mean, I think you definitely want a horse to be able to hold their composure, especially a 2-year-old who's coming over here in the States for the first time. You never want them to kind of run their race before they even get into the starting gate. Now, I don't know exactly what they're working on here in the stall, but it certainly doesn't seem like he's too keen on it.
Obviously, quite often they squeeze the sponge in just before the horses let out, just to give them a lubrication. Waco Kid's quite an experienced horse. He's had a lot of racing this year. He won really impressively. I was at Newmarket the day that he won, and I spoke to Hugo Palmer immediately after the race, and I said, what would be the options for him? And he said he'd taken them out of the Dewhurst, which is our big championship 2-year-old race for the Colts, and he wasn't sure exactly where he was going to end up. But having discussed it, they decided to skip every other option in Europe and come here. His owners are big Gene Wilder fans, which is why he's called the Waco Kid, after racing fans, one of the greatest films of all time.
That would name the owners Genie's the second. Got it, Gene Wilder, one of the greats of American cinema. At any rate, they are just about to give the call of riders up as most of the contenders are settled. That is your current favorite Zulu. Let's go to Jess Stafford.
Rachel King, the first Australian-based jockey to ride at the Breeders' Cup. A pretty amazing moment for you, Rachel.
Yeah, it's special to be here. It's a huge occasion, and I'm just delighted to be a part of it.
You've been here for a few days now. You know your horse a little bit better, being on the horse. How do you rate the chances?
Yeah, I got to know him a little bit this week. Look, I'm confident in the horse, and I'm very confident in the trainer and his team. You know, they wouldn't have travelled this far for nothing.
Aussie woman jockey,
a great atmosphere
riding at the Breeders. Good luck to her in the green and gold.
On the pace too, so is that where you want to be?
Yeah, but he's strong barrier.
On the number 1, Satano Carnival, looking around the 10-1 mark right now.
Jess, thank you so much.
Good luck to her.
Murphy will be aboard the
I won't be on it.
New Century. You've been aboard
this horse from the very
Maybe
beginning
not a
of
good
his
thing, but
career.
we'll
How
see.
much has he changed and developed up until this point?
We think he's improved at every start, Andy, and he's been in great shape in the morning series, so he can do it on the track.
What's the plan of action from that 11 post position?
Well, I'd imagine Johnny V will be forward on Menchie beside me. He won well over 6 furlongs last time. So if I could get a trail somewhere behind the leaders, that'd be great.
Oisin, thank you so much and best of luck.
Cheers, Andy.
Back to you guys.
Ocean Murphy, in a very short amount of time, has become a household name in racing in the UK and becoming a household name here in the US because of his success in international racing and in the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, and the most impressive thing about him for me this season is the fact that obviously last year he had his travails, but he's come back. There's not been much fanfare about what he's done, but he's ridden a huge amount of winners and he's riding tactically brilliantly. That's the thing that I think separates the best from the rest. And it seems to me he does a lot of work in ascertaining what the opposition needs to do, what they maybe might be vulnerable against. And I think he rides a lot of races with tactical acumen that leaves one or two others wanting.
We'll make the baseball reference since you're here. It's like the center fielder that never has to dive for a ball because he's always in the right spot. Let's check in with Jess Stafford.
Charlie Appleby saddles 2 in this race for Al Qudra and 12 at Morris City. As individuals, could you just describe them to me, how they differentiate? I know they're in the same race, but at different models.
Yeah, 2 different models. Al Qudra is a stockier, thicker set model. You say he will get the mile. I felt that at Woodbine, saw it out well there. He's got a bit of experience around here now. On the back of that Woodbine effort, and he's got a draw. Had William beforehand. We spoke at depth about the pair of them and on what they really achieved back in England. One was obviously went and won the Vintage in the Morris City physically, and what we were seeing at home, they were hard to split. But and with other one we'll pick, we've always. It's just always going to be that way. That people's probably going to end up with the outside draw, which he's got. And Morris City, just as you're asking about him as an individual, he's a slicker model, sharp. He's the one that we thought would be well suited to round here. The other horse is more of a horse that Gladner and grind a bit more, whereas the Morris City can sit and slick round those turns. But unfortunately, he's drawn where he is, and Williams, he's done it before out of a wide draw, so I'm sure he'll be fine.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but do you think if they were in opposing draws, the prices would be different? That's as simple as that.
Exactly that, yeah. I do feel if we could have switched the draws round, then like I said, they'd be priced up differently.
Well, this place served you very well a few years ago. All the best this weekend.
Very kind, thank you.
I presented the trophy twice for the Breeders' Cup Mile, and I've never presented it to anyone other than Charlie Appleby and William Buick.
You presenting it again?
Yeah, and I think I might be giving it to them again.
I would agree with that.
At any rate, let's take a look at Amore City from Goodwood. And it was once in the Guinness Book of World Records. We'll get to that in a moment. I want to make sure we get this statted, though, from the DRM formulator. Past 5 years, Charlie Appleby, 5 for 10. That's 50% if you want to do the math yourself. With 4 and 2-year-old chippers racing in North America.
And add to that, overall, he's 20 runners, 10 winners. So he's 5 from 10 with the older horses as well. An incredible record at the Breeders' Cup. Amore City wins the Vintage Stakes at Goodwood. The horses in behind are Cool Hooves Luke and Wolf of Badminton. There are good horses, but they are not the sort of horses that you think will be, if they were lining up in this race, there'd be big prices as well. It was what Amore City did next time out as well in the National Stakes when he upped his class to Group 1 company in Ireland, and he came up against better horses that really established in Charlie Appleby's mind that he was of the class to come and compete in the British Juvenile Turn. And Charlie Appleby feels, it was interesting, he pointed out that physically he was the horse that he felt was going to be suited by this. He knows with a record of 20 runners, 10 winners before the start of this year's Breeders' Cup, that when he says something like that, you take a huge amount of notice.
I take a huge amount of notice when Andy Biancone starts looking around at the contenders in any race, especially these top-class Breeders' Cup races. And Andy, once again, who has caught your eye?
Michael Joyce, I know our current favorite lies with the American horse, the number 5 Zulu Kingdom, but I'm going elsewhere with my selections. The number 1 Santono Carnival coming from Japan really caught my eye. A very lanky, tall, but a beautiful walk and undefeated thus far. 9-1 on him, and I think he's going to like this mile distance based on how lanky and large he is. But the number 4, Al Quadra, at 5-1 caught my eye as well. This horse is immaculate, just walking on his toes, filled in really beautifully, a deep chest, very powerfully built, and certainly looks like a horse who has a good turn of foot. Last time out, got bumped in the summer and went very, very wide, but still finished second behind my 3rd selection, the number 11, New Century. I love that Oisin Murphy knows this horse really well. He seems to have a great game plan going into here, but another very well put together individual, compact but powerfully built, and good energy in here as well. Dubs.
Eddie, taking a look at this odds board, it tells us everything. This is a wide open affair to finish off day 1 of the Breeders' Cup. The big mover in the market right now, Zulu Kingdom, the 5, was 8-1 in the morning line, now sitting at 7-2, plus 350 number. A couple of standouts for me. The Aussie-based rider, Rachel King on Satono Carnival, starting from the inside. I think that's a live mount, 2 for 2, and looks to be taking another forward step here today. I'm a little surprised that we're still getting a decent number here for New Century. The 11 has made every sudden absolute standout performance, and I think we're absolutely in the mix for this one. New Century, Oisin Murphy, one of the top international pilots, get back in for the start here today. Let's see if we can finish off with a price. If you haven't jumped into play, do so. FanDuel Racing app. Let's get after it. Scott, what do you see?
Todd Fletcher's got 2 in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, and we'll start with Noble Confessor. How much did he step up when he moved over to the turf course in his last race?
I thought he ran very well. He kind of had a bit of an unfortunate trip in clearance really late. I think that he closed strongly. It's lucky for him as well.
Can he close as strongly on the firm ground here today?
I think so. I think he'll like the ground.
Mentee stretching out the brother to fierceness. How do you think he'll handle the stretch out?
I think he'll handle it well. We love the way he ran it since furlongs last time. He finished up strongly, galloped out really nicely. I think a mile's perfect for him.
Good luck today, Todd.
Thank you.
Richie, do you ever get nervous interviewing these connections anymore?
Yes, I still get nervous.
Todd Fletcher does that to me. My hand shakes. I don't know what it is. It's just I don't know if it's because he's so successful or so handsome, but
stoicism.
The success, the class that he exhibits. As they come onto the track, there is Satono Carnival as Rachel King in the irons here, one of the many runners from Japan.
I really like this horse today, undefeated in 2 starts, Japanese contingent. We'll talk more about him after the post parade, but he stands on the board right now at 9-1, leading off this post parade.
I liked his win last time out. We changed leads quite adeptly in the home straight. Different test for him today. Next up is Dream On, who was 3rd behind New Century and Al Qudra at Woodbine. Those 2 horses, I think, will blow past him as they did in the race. But he's an admirable sort.
We just heard from trainer Todd Fletcher moments ago with regard to the 3 Noble Confessor. He had to deal with yielding conditions last time out in the Grade 2 Pilgrim, but he thinks that this horse will do just fine on this firm going today.
Al Qudra has had a busy time this season. He was 5th at Royal Ascot in the Coventry. Then he came back to Ascot and he won a race that in the past has thrown up some really smart horses. And in that race he beat New Century. New Century then beat him at Woodbine.
Zulu Kingdom, he is undefeated coming into this race. His first race was in France, and then he transferred over to the Chad Brown barn. He's been undefeated in the States, last out winning the Grade 2 Pilgrim.
And then number 6 is Ironman Cal, who was the beneficiary of a change of result at Santa Anita last time out.
He was getting a little fierce on the track there, as is the case with the 7 Seagulls. 11 kind of ramping up a little bit in the post parade as we take a closer look at him. Sent out by Hugo Palmer. He did run in the Dewhurst last time out at Newmarket.
His stable companion is the Waco Kid, also trained by Hugo Palmer. He's progressed as the season's gone on. The question mark I have against him last time is that his best performance came on pretty soft ground at Newmarket.
The 10 Menti, he is the full brother to Fierceness out of Nonabella and owned by Rapoli, sent out by Fletcher. Johnny Velasquez at the board as well, but he has never been a distance.
13.
11 is definitely improving. New Century. He was behind Al Qudra at Ascot. Looked beaten fair and square, but he
Don't want the 4, don't want the 5. Again, you're getting the idea. We don't want the favourites. Let's see what looks good here on the board.
Stepped into deeper waters last time out and still ran well despite that, but we'll have to work out a trip from this outside post position today.
and Omri Matisse represents Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. Very nice profile in the early part of his career. He then got beaten in the national stakes, and last time out, Connections put his disappointing performance down to the headgear that he wore. Now they are off.
That is your field for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. And here's what trainer Aidan O'Brien had to say about Omri Matisse. If I'm not mistaken, he said this to you, Rishi.
Yeah, the ground was soft at Longchamp, and that didn't suit him. But he said that they tried something, put the blinkers on. They realised it was a mistake. In the national stakes, he ran around. He did that in a race before, so I can understand why they went to the blinkers, because there was one moment in the race before the national stakes where he looks like he's going to win by miles, and then all of a sudden he ducks left for no apparent reason. Then he did it again in the national stakes, so understand they go put some blinkers on or put some form of headgear on him to try and keep him straight, keep him concentrating, but that seemed to work against him last time.
Let's take a look at the number 5 horse in here, Zulu Kingdom for Chad Brown. Flavien Prat gets aboard. He was aboard in the With Anticipation. 2 wins at 1.16 miles on the turf. This horse has had no shortage of ground to run at.
He's done everything right. First time out in France, he handled the soft ground, going 7 furlongs, and then he came here to the States for trainer Chad Brown. He won the With Anticipation, and then he won this race, which we'll look at, the Grade 2 Pilgrim. And this was over yielding ground, so he's handled soft, yielding, and firm ground. He has been very versatile. And take nothing away from this win, really his 2 wins in the States, Rishi. He's had ideal trips and still can obviously win, but I think he creates his own luck.
Yeah.
He's able to kind of save ground, angle out, and come with that closing kick. But there's no doubt about it. Today is his toughest test.
Yeah, it's a different level of competition today. But as you say, the things that make him an attractive proposition are the fact that he's quite easily tractable through the race, and he'll take gaps and take positions where and when needed. But he'll have to do it in more trying circumstances today.
Here's a look at Zulu Kingdom on the track earlier. Scott Hazelton caught up with Chad Brown.
Chad Brown with the 5 Zulu Kingdom. How straightforward of a horse has he been since he's come to you, and especially in his races? A straightforward horse. He came in great condition. I'm very impressed with his 2 races. And since his last race, he actually picked it up in the mornings. His last 2 works, even on dirt, were super impressive. So he gets away clean from the gate. I'd love to see him get up and close and pocketed. Both of his wins were in the pocket. You can see he travels on heels really well and settles, and hopefully we can just find a hole late. Chad, thank you.
I do think he's sitting in a beautiful position here. And this is one of the toughest races of the day. Not that the Breeders' Cup is ever easy, but as the races have gone today, you have a favorite right now that's plus 400 or 4-1 odds, playing $10 or more. The pick sixes are paying anywhere from 36,000 up to 208,000 landing in this race. It's been difficult, but this could be the hardest of all.
Yeah, this is an absolute minefield, I think, because you've got the option of going to that race at Woodbine, and you say, okay, is that the race that's your form guide? If it is, will it play out like it did at Woodbine, or will that form be turned over? Personally, that's the way I'm going to go. I think the Woodbine race is the one that you want to be with. I think it's quite strong. But then there are other horses. The Hugo Palmer pair are really interesting. And I talked about earlier on today, I talked about Ryan Moore recommending to Aidan O'Brien that Lake Victoria should come to this race. Now, Hugo Palmer said earlier in the week that you're talking about Oisin Murphy. Oisin Murphy rode Seagulls 11. And bearing in mind that Oisin Murphy rode New Century to win at Woodbine, after he rode Seagulls 11, he said to Hugo Palmer, this is a Breeders' Cup mile horse when I send him to the juvenile turf mile. So on Oisin Murphy's recommendation, he's here today.
Against Luis Saez, even though Oisin finds himself on another runner, Luis Saez, I would say it's most underrated jockey in the country. He's a world-class rider. He sometimes is in the shadow of his more famous colleagues in the room, but he is a top-class athlete, and he's been outstanding for a decade now.
He's one of the more consistent riders that we see as well. When he is on a good mount, he gets the most out of them. You can see this horse is acting really well on the track today, too. And maybe I'm wrong in saying this, but sometimes I like to analyze replays. And I thought in the National on the straight, this horse kind of switched his leads a little bit late, and he just didn't look that comfortable. But when I went back and watched the race at Haydock, around the bend, it actually was very fluid. So in some ways, I think he would actually do really well here. So I can understand why O'Sheen probably thought that this was a horse that would do well in the States.
Yeah, and going back to the point about Louis Sayers getting the ride on this horse, again, quoting Hugo Farmer from earlier in the week, he said that it was a jockey that Ryan Moore believes is one of the best in the world.
Really? Okay, so now that's information I did not have. It used to be, once upon a time, not anymore, don't take offense to this, it used to be one of my favorite angles was in the turf races in the Breeders' Cup. Take the European horse with the American jockey. I think now they have it of, the Ryan Moore, William Buick, O'Sheen Murphy. I don't necessarily know that you need to play it like that. But he fits that angle to a T right now, doesn't he?
100%. Yeah, he is terrific.
Let's take a look at Al Qudra now, the Charlie Appleby runner who was second in that summer stakes. Jamie Doyle will be aboard, and currently 5-1 in the wagering. Gabby, what do you think of this horse's chances to turn the tables on New Century this time?
Well, I think he's got a better post position, so by that virtue alone, I think he certainly could do it, and he beat him at Ascot, beating New Century in that event. I would say that Al Qudra is going to probably hope for a nice ground-saving pocket trip and a fast pace in front of him.
I would like Al Qudra to challenge later the New Century, ideally, or at least if they were in the same sort of position again, I'd like him to just be held on to for a little bit longer. I
would like Gabby to sell me on Santano Carnival. Because this is a horse I'm very interested in, but it's very tough. You want to talk about trying to measure the form from Woodbine to the UK. How about the form from Tokyo and Hakodate?
Okay, so Noriyuki Hori, he is the conditioner of Maurice, if you're familiar with him, a 6-time Grade 1 winner, Group 1 winner in Hong Kong. So he knows what a good horse is. He's also won the Japanese Derby twice. He doesn't travel often with his horses. So the fact that this horse is here today, I think, speaks volumes of what the connections think of him. And when you take into context Japanese racing, 2-year-old racing doesn't start until about June. There are Group 1 events for 2-year-olds in December. So you had a decision to make. Do you stay in Japan and face Grade 1 company in December, or do you take this horse to the Breeders' Cup? I think this is a very confident move by a very capable trainer, and it's backed up by his performances in Japan. He's a tall, leggy-looking horse. He looks like he should handle the mile just fine.
We heard it in the interview with Todd Fletcher, Menti, the full brother to Fierceness, who was the winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile on the main track last year at Santa Anita.
So Menti is kind of an interesting horse because I heard an interview by Rapoli, and he said he had a foot issue that almost led to a little bout of laminitis before the hopeful. So it wasn't necessarily that he was outclassed or that things didn't go his way. He kind of had some hiccups that he had to overcome in that event. And then he came back with a huge run in the Futurity last time out. He's bred to go a distance of ground. I think the most important thing for him is to be able to harness that speed in order to get the distance.
They have reached the starting gate for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien with 6 wins apiece in the jockey and trainer ranks, and the stakes record set in 2013 at Santa Anita by Outstrip. Let's go to the voice of the Breeders' Cup one more time this afternoon, Larry Colmus.
2-year-olds lining up on the turf for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Field of 12. And the first one to come up will be Santano Carnival.
All right, starting to load them up. Last race of the day.
Carnival and Rachel King taking the inside gate here. Seagulls 11 also steps up.
Like to see the 7. No, not the 10, not the 13. Jesus. The 3 of the 7. So.
Next up will be Dream On. Waco Kid. Noble Confessor coming forward with Menti.
Loading up, loading up, loading up. Got to get straight to work for tomorrow.
New Century. Moving into line. Al Qudra. Hail Maurice City goes in. Zulu Kingdom is in.
The Waco kid, take him. But 3 in the 7. Seagulls 11. Nice tout from over in Ireland. Had it sort of circled anyway, halfway up the track, but let's see where. Yeah, I like the 10 and 13, but we laid them, so I cheer against them. The 3 and the 7. 3 and the 7. Let's see what happens. Oh, Jesus, the 12 got through. Okay. Open it back up.
And will have to be brought back behind the gate here. So we are going to have a bit of a delay here at the start of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf.
Open it back up. Open it back up. Get the bets in. They can keep betting. They can keep betting. Let's see. You gonna put it straight back in, or?
City is back behind the starting gate now.
He's warmed up.
And he's about to move back into line.
He's warmed up. He's got a stretch. So let's see if it helps him or hurts him.
Ready for the start.
Off they go.
They're off.
And he's off. He's done it before. He's straight out. There goes 11. New Century.
And then it's Dream On away running at second.
They're down by the winning post first time round, and then a long time round they go.
And Iron Man Cal, and right behind them is Seagulls 11 as they make their way into that turn.
Jesus, 13 got short.
Inside of El Kudra, New Century 3 wide into that turn, and then the Waco Kid and Henri Matisse. Last of them all is Aomori City, who is 10 lengths behind the front runner. And that front runner is Dream On, who went 22.65 for the opening quarter mile and leads up the backstretch by 3/4 of a length. Mentee on the outside of a hard-held Zulu Kingdom, second and third Satono Carnival, fourth down toward the inside. Outside of them, Seagulls 11, then Iron Man Cal, New Century, Noble Confessor down toward the inside, and El Kudra. Henri Matisse is 9 lengths behind, then the Waco Kid at Aomori City.
They're on second. 7's moving up.
Mile racing for the far turn. Dream On is the leader here. On top of the half, Seagulls 11 has moved up on the outside.
Seagulls 11 looks good.
That's all for Mentee.
Seagulls 11. Seagulls 11. He's got it fucking wide open for him. There's no excuses. Henri Matisse. Henri Matisse. Henri Matisse. Henri Matisse. Henri Matisse. Henri Matisse. 13.612. Aomori City. 13.612.
Aiden O'Brien with another one. His 7th victory in this race. Henri Matisse for Ian Ryan Moore. Sensational down the stretch.
A stunning performance from Henri Matisse, bouncing back from a disappointing run at Longchamp last time out. Aidan O'Brien said earlier in the week, I made a mistake by putting headgear on it when he ran at Longchamp. I've decided that he doesn't need it. We'll go back to basics with him. And he's produced a telling turn of foot in a race run at a great pace that allowed the closers.
That thing's really shorting up.
Stories behind James Doyle, then he actually came off Al Kudra in the closing stages where he got shut. In between Seagulls 11 and another horse, but real drama in our closing race.
Can we talk about Iron Man Cal? He at 25-1 almost wins the darn thing.
Dream On is the stunning performance from Henri Matisse. Bouncing Dream On is the one to catch. Dream On, another furlong to run. Iron Man Cal streaks up on the running outside, and Henri Matisse is coming too. The driving finish, here's Henri Matisse. To take the lead. Rima Case wins.
11 third. Fourth.
From Ironman Cal, Gilmore City came charging late for third, and then came
Aiden O'Brien with another one, his 7th victory in this race. Henri Matisse for Ian Ryan Moore. Sensational down the stretch.
A stunning performance from Henri Matisse, bouncing back from a disappointing run at Longchamp last time out. Aiden O'Brien said earlier in the week, I made a mistake by putting headgear on him when he ran at Longchamp. I've decided that he doesn't need it. We'll go back to basics with him. And he's produced a telling turn of foot in a race run at a great pace that allowed the closers. And one or two hard luck stories in behind. James Doyle nearly actually came off Al Qudra in the closing stages where he got shut in between Seagulls 11 and another horse. But real drama in our closing race.
Can we talk about Ironman Cal? He at 25-1 almost wins the darn thing. He won the Zuma Beach by virtue of DQ. I know that Little Red Feather and Phil D'Amato were very high on this colt's chances, and he was doing sensationally well all week long. Boy, he just gets beat by one of the best juveniles in the world. Let's take an ISO look here, and this is where Henri Matisse settles on the backstretch.
Yeah, and he's towards the back of the pack, which is where you wanted to be in this race because of the fast pace that ensued in front of him. Now, this is not necessarily a perfect trip, though, because this horse is out in the clear, wide. That's not really the type of trip that you want in a two-turn turf race, but I think it just proved how good he was. And really, Ryan, at this point, Ryan Moore didn't have to do much because he could stay out in the clear and kick on, whereas the 12, Amore City, kind of had to navigate a little bit more today.
Rishi, you talked about some of that trouble in the stretch. We do have a steward's inquiry in this race. They're on the inquiry side, and the stewards are controlling the video right now to take a look.
Watch the horse in the white cap, James Doyle in the middle of the field. He's about to make his run between New Century and Seagulls 11, and they close the gap. And watch James Doyle.
Whoa.
So the 11 New Century, it seemed like the 7 was tiring, but the 11 New Century does come over a little bit, and I think that's where that happened. Al Qudra could be heels with the 11 New Century.
And I think that the 13, although right next to the action, was clear of it. I don't believe they're going to be hanging the sign next to Henri Matisse, but they still have the photo on the sign on the tote board for win. We have an inquiry. There was an incident in the stretch, and it wasn't far away from where the winner came from.
I think the winner's okay. Look at where he is. I think Al Qudra will be cursing New Century. He's been involved in a couple of finishes now where things haven't worked out. But I think it's from this angle, it's hard to tell. But it looks as if Seagulls 11 drifted out into Al Qudra's path, and that's where the trouble was.
I think he was getting tired, and he just kind of lost his path, and he drifted out. And really, you know, New Century was kind of standing his ground, couldn't really go anywhere, and that's where Al Qudra just gets into a really bad spot there.
It's interesting that we have to see this head on. If it was the 7 coming out or the 11 coming in, New Century did float in. The 7 Seagulls 11 appeared to float out. We're not going to know until we see a head on or a drone look. You can see exactly what angle they were taking off of that turn.
It's remarkable that James Doyle actually stayed in the saddle, because I just saw for a moment there his foot came out of the iron, and somehow he, after staying on, did manage to get his foot back in the iron. So now we get this head-on view, Rishi, and we can look at it. It does appear that the 7 comes out and forces him to kind of bump into the 11.
It didn't look like there was a ton of a lane, like a ton of room there. I mean, right there he's got the lane. The 11,
the combination, I'm thinking, New Century's lent on him a little bit. Seagulls 11 has drifted out, but that seems to be the key to it. In the meantime, Henri Matisse and Amore City are making their ground out wide. But this is the interference. James Doyle, poor Al Qudra, has got nowhere to go. And as you pointed out, oh, he's caught his leg.
His leg was so wide. My goodness. And look at him. James Doyle almost falls off. He loses his right iron and is on the right side of the horse. The fact that he could get himself back on and put his foot back in the iron, that is incredible athleticism.
Let's take a look at this from the drone view, and maybe we can get a little bit better look. And you can see, look for the blue silks and the white cap. That is the horse that Williams on. That's really tough there. I don't know who to blame. It was a little bit of both, wasn't it, Rashid?
I feel it's a combination of both horses just squeezing him up, because it's right off the bend. New Century's probably just leaning left a fraction, and Seagulls 11 is drifting to his right a fraction. James Doyle's only got that gap. That's the only option he can take, and they close it together. And he does it does help that the horse kept a straight path, because if the horse had gone either left or right, James Doyle would have had to make an exit.
I think the 11 does come in a little more than the 7 comes out.
The drone footage, you can really see it from here, that the 11 does come in a little bit.
I think the 7 floats out just a hair, but more of that was New Century coming in just a touch. I mean, it's a tough call to try and figure out who is exactly to blame, but there's no doubt William Buick Clipping Hills, and now we're going to have to see whether or not they make a decision here to take New Century down.
This is an interesting angle as well. It's so hard to tell exactly who's at fault. Incredible. The horses clipped heels. They got tangled up. I'm really hoping all the horses are okay.
I keep saying William, that's Jamie Doyle. My apologies. I know that's El Kudra who's involved in that with the white cap. But I mean, it was just such a scary moment. You get the idea, just the athleticism of El Kudra to get back up and stay in stride, and the athleticism of Jamie Doyle to.
He had a balance on 3 legs there, because his left front leg was essentially kind of
All right.
tangled up.
Well, we're still waiting for the inquiry here. Doesn't believe like the first and second will change, but possibly the fourth and the fifth.
He knows what's happening, because you'll see at the moment that when James Doyle almost comes down, he's immediately looking back.
I mean, I've never seen a horse's leg go that far into the hind end of another. That's crazy.
That's wild. That's the play of the day to Al Kudra to stay on his feet. My goodness. He's held his composure. Tight spot there.
Now, the stewards here in Southern California are going to be diligent and make sure they take all angles. And I don't blame them for taking their time with this, because it is difficult to assign blame. It is. I believe the right call is to take New Century down. I don't know what the right call would be for Seagulls 11. Perhaps you leave Seagulls 11 there. He didn't finish anywhere of consequence. No.
Now, we haven't really talked about the 2 Dream On, but why is the inquiry sign on him?
I don't know.
Here, so Dream On runs into Seagulls 11 after the major incident.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that there was more contact, and that's why that's gone. So after the main incident between Seagulls 11, New Century, and Al Kudra, Seagulls 11 then drifts over to his left, our right as we're looking at it, and then he and Dream On come close to each other.
Okay.
I'm not sure Dream On is in any danger of being disqualified at all. I think it's going to be New Century who comes down, and they're probably deciding what to do with the 7. But they're going to look at this over and over again. We've shown you the pan view. We've shown you the head-on like we're seeing right now. We've also shown you the drone view, which gives you a rather good idea as well. So we shall see exactly what the stewards decide to do. But I don't think Dream On is in any question here, whether.
Yeah.
It's still brutal. We must have seen this replay now 10, 11 times. Every time you see it, it's so brutal to watch. It's incredible how Kudra stayed on.
A lot of people have a lot of opinions about qualifications. And being a steward is one of the hardest jobs, because you're under a lot of scrutiny. And I will say that this is probably one of the more difficult decisions here, because of the nuances of this unfortunate circumstance.
I would look at this thing firstly on a fair and just principle.
First day
You said it's done.
in the book.
Seagulls 11. So
Oh, need to get up tomorrow's prices, so time to go to work. The winner's not going to change on this race. It's going to be further down the board. So hopefully you found some winners. If you watched Boston versus the book yesterday, you got the winner in that last. So on to tomorrow. Hopefully it's a better day for all of us, or another good day for those that found the winners. All the best. Feel free to fire any questions through or anything else you'd like to see tomorrow. And can always send over some questions live while I'm doing this. In between the mess, I'll get to what I can. All the best, everybody. Cheers.
Because Amori City burst the stalls beforehand and then had to be held up at the back, and he's flown home. He's a bit unlucky, and I think Al Qudra would have played a big part in the race had he got a clean run. So I think the Appleby Godolphin team